Very warm welcome to you, sir, Dave
Good
Anderson.
morning.
Good
Afternoon.
morning. How are you? Good afternoon.
All right. It was morning when I woke up. It doesn't feel like it now.
Well, what is the shirt you're wearing? It's just
This is
simply.
a shirt from commemorating 30 years of the miners' strike. Which I was a coal miner during the strike, and it's made.
You were a coal miner.
I was 20 years man and boy.
I was in Freeman Hospital and I heard about Arthur Scargill and what's going on. Some American guy got smacked in.
That was that lovely guy, Mr. Ian McGregor. Sir
McGregor.
Ian McGregor. Mrs. Thatcher's Hatchet Man.
Mr. Thatcher's Hatchet Man.
Yeah.
Sound like a poem, you know. Mrs. Thatcher's Hatchet Man.
There's a lot of songs about him.
Boom, boom.
But you can't sing them on air because there's some rude words.
Oh, I
We
see.
could not possibly use those words.
Oh, you can't?
Not in a show as serious as this one.
No, in my kind of shows, you can't use words like balls and you
No,
can't.
absolutely.
We're talking football here.
Only when you're talking about the next Chancellor of Britain, Mr. Ed Balls. That's what I mean. You use the word balls.
How can you have head and balls all together?
He's can do anything now.
Has he got Has he got balls in his head or head in his balls?
Sure. I'll ask his wife next time.
So about the miners' strike,
All right.
and it brings me very neatly to you. Where were you born, sir? What were
I
you?
was born in Sunderland.
Sunderland. We forgive you for that.
right.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
And I came to Newcastle in 1989 as a disciple to try and teach them the right way.
How old were you?
When I was born,
when
I
you
was
came,
very, very young.
when you came to Newcastle, I mean.
35 years old. I'd done 20 years in the pits, got made redundant,
Okay.
and I came to
So
Newcastle.
what's your first memory in Sunderland? What do you remember of
First
Sunderland?
memory, sitting in a place called Hilton Castle. It was a brand new.
I know
cottage
Hilton
at the
Castle.
time.
I've done night doctor service,
All right.
so I know every part of Sunderland.
Right, well, I was
Penny something.
I remember Pennywell, yeah.
Pennywell, the
That
gorgeous.
lovely place, yeah, it's the Beverly Hills of the North. I was sitting next to a radiogram, 3 years old.
Radiogram.
Listen,
I remember those things, you know.
It was bigger than this table.
Yes. Oh,
Oh, that's it.
like a pie stereo and all that kind of thing.
Wasn't any stereo.
Oh,
If it
mono.
would have been winding up.
His master's voice.
That's exactly.
Okay, tell me, his master's voice, was the dog a male or a bitch?
It was a bitch
How do you know?
because I know the secrets.
But it
If
says,
I tell you, I'll have to kill you.
excuse me, sir. Haven't you gone to school? It says his master's voice.
His master's
So
voice.
the dog has to be dogs.
But it's a test.
Okay,
It's a secret. And if I tell you, I'll have to kill you.
it's not a testicle, it's a
No,
test.
no. You're back to balls again, aren't you?
Head balls. Okay, the balls are in my head, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what is your first memory? The big stereo, the mono.
I was listening to Al McCogan on the radio, believe it or not, singing Sugar in the Morning, and I had a little dog sitting next to us, and it's
How old were you at that time?
about 3.
So you remember that quite clearly.
Yeah, experience.
You know, these are amazing remembrances, and I feel that up till the age of 7, what your mother tells you is gospel truth because you
Yeah.
totally believe her.
Well, I think you're right, because my eternal memory for when I was 7 was I was sitting on December the 9th, 1960, 7:30 at night, waiting to watch a program called Highway Patrol.
Highway Patrol,
It's a great actor called Broderick Crawford played a policeman.
Uh-huh.
And instead of Highway Patrol, which had a really upbeat theme, came this terrible, boring music on. Da, 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 da. And it was the first episode of Coronation Street. And I've hated it ever
Dang,
since.
dang, 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 dang. Another boring music. God, it is boring. Why do people want to watch
54
other people's
years.
boring lives? Tell me.
I think it makes them feel better about their own. It must be. I tell you what, you know the best. The person who deserves the best award in TV is the man who convinced the British public to watch people asleep in bed in Big Brother. It's just
Big Brother is one of my pet hates. You know,
What's
why do
wrong
I
with
want
it?
to watch other people doing things? Why can't I do
But
it?
even you watch people asleep in bed. Where's the entertainment in that? But you fill this.
And they're awake watching it.
Yeah, it's good. It's just.
But in Norway, they've had a film series about a ship sailing. That's all they show for 22 hours.
Is that
Or
right?
if you go on TED Talks,
That's probably a little bit more interesting than watching somebody sleep. Which is what they do in Big Brother, isn't it? God, yeah.
well, why don't you just take a picture and just still picture, I mean, and just show it for.
Why you just turn it off? It's much easier.
But isn't it true that life is full of activity and you can influence other people if you're bothered, or you can just
Absolutely.
watch Agog square-eyed at the television?
Well, it's what you were talking about earlier on about the vigil out there. I didn't realise the vigil was on. I would have tried to come.
Yes.
But it's like, I think that's somebody saying, look, in reality, does it change anything? Probably not. But the people.
I feel better.
And so will the people. When they find
Yes,
out,
yes.
they're thinking, these people care about me.
That's right.
5,000 miles away and they're thinking about what we've gone through.
Absolutely true. Absolutely
It's
true.
really
I mean,
important.
what can we do to the Taliban that they can't do to themselves? We can't. But the other thing is, we are in a free speech country, to a large extent. I know you'll disagree to some extent, but compared to India and Pakistan, we can say a lot more.
No, absolutely.
And even people like Salman Rushdie are still alive.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be the case in the subcontinent or anywhere else, really, not even in America. So really, we have this free speech. And I think if you don't have humor and if you don't have free speech, what the hell are you doing in Britain? Why are you not enjoy it?
Absolutely.
It's like a nun with 20 blokes at a party.
Start again, you'll be back to balls. I know you're not getting us back to that.
Let's have some music.
I have a cousin who's a nun, so be very careful what you say.
Your cousin is a nun?
She is
I see. I thought he was a male.
No.
Male cousin.
No, not quite. No.
Okay. Let's have a listen to some music of yours.
You'll cry at this one.
Should you go first and I remain to walk the road alone?
It's very melodic, isn't it?
It's very
But
it's a love song from the 40s.
But why can't music be soft and gentle? Because it soothes the savage beast or breast, which
Takes all sorts. I like some soft songs.
Why not?
But I like heavy metal.
You mean there's a soft side of you as well?
Very soft side of me. I've let me feminine side.
Your underbelly is really soft.
I've got a very soft underbelly. It's a very big underbelly as well. I didn't see that one coming.
Well, when I see your outfit, I can see the equator going around. All longitude.
You can't say the South Pole. But
I can see the snow on the North Pole.
That's definitely up there.
So,
that's the Arctic Circle, right?
Where do you get your haircuts like?
I got this cut in Tootenbeck by a Cypriot barber called Harry.
You went all the way to Cyprus to get a haircut?
No. I don't get that much money. They come on expenses later. It's a nice little barber's right next to the tube station in Tootenbeck, which is where I stay when I'm in London.
So how's your life between the two places? It's like having two wives, I guess.
Not at all. How would I know?
Where does your wife stay?
My wife stays at home.
Where's the other one?
I could not possibly come.
The parliament is your other wife, isn't it?
That's right.
It's your passion.
I'm married to parliament.
Exactly. Like nuns used to wear a wedding ring, married to Jesus.
Yeah,
and people, it's about commitment, isn't it?
It is.
So how's your life? Where do you spend? What time? Where are you?
I go down to London on a Monday morning. Probably 10:25 trains.
Like any commuter.
Yeah. Get down there about 1:45. Leave straight to work. Leave there about 11 o'clock at night. Go back to the flat. The flat, to be honest, is like a glorified hotel room. I sleep there. I don't eat there very much. It's not worth it. I can get back into work in 20 minutes. I can get breakfast.
So it's something very convenient at your place over. It's still hard, 20 minutes is not the same as Newcastle.
But see, when I work in Newcastle, I lived at Hackney Hall. It was a 17-mile ride to work. And the wrong time of day, it could take you up to an hour. So really, it's not.
So you found a system that works for you. So Monday you go down there and you live and sleep there, and then?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, usually. Quite often, over the last few months, because the government has had very little business on a Thursday, we haven't had any votes on a Thursday.
So you could come back earlier?
I tend to come home on a Wednesday night.
So it's usually 4 nights there and 3 nights here? Here.
3 nights there and 4 nights there.
Okay. And you go by train, I guess?
Oh, yeah. You can do the plane, but to be honest with you save about 20 minutes. It just isn't worth it.
It's
just not worth it.
Because you're in the waiting room.
Yeah, plus the big thing is about coming home.
Yes.
When you want to come home, if you miss a train, there's another one in half an hour. If you miss a plane, it's 3 hours.
So all this you had to go through.
I mean, I was doing work down there for years. Before I was an MP, I worked with the trade unions. From 1993.
Right.
Oh, this is even more, but this is about the funeral. The listeners will be slashing the wrist if there's anybody still listening. Well, they've probably all gone out now.
But I think music is something that resonates with us, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
You could be. I mean, let me tell you about the experiment an American boy did in 1974, I think. David Merrell. He took 72 mice, 24 in dry fish tanks, right? And after a week of letting them be, he found they could solve a maze, like get through some nails, maze made of nails, 6 foot long, in about 10 minutes each. So the average time for these white mice was 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. After 3 weeks, he found that the mice left in silence could do it in 5 minutes. From 10 to 5, they learned.
Right.
Then the mice who heard Mozart and all that kind of stuff, they could do it in 1.5 minutes.
All right.
But beware, the ones who heard heavy metal did not decrease the time from 10 to 5 or 1.5. They increased it to 30 and started killing each other.
Because we're busy rocking.
But they were busy killing as well. So maybe we should put... Do you know how I would punish the Taliban?
Go on.
I'd put them soothing music like this and ask them to write lines. I'll never do this again. I'll never do this again.
Some heavy rock so they kill each other.
You know, I mean, how do you survive the difficulties of that you see? Being an MP, you have to read all the time. And what you read in papers is not pleasant. You have to eat more of it than I have to.
But
how do you cope with that pain?
See, I think it's to some extent, it's like any other job. If you take it on and you're not prepared for the downside, then don't do it.
Like being a GP, you go to people's funerals, like policemen who go and see dead families or beaten up wife.
You're doing something, like a lorry driver, you're going
to have the flip side, yes.
If you don't think you're going to get in your car and by the end of the day you're going to be really cheesed off with the journey you've had, then it's amazing.
So it's best, I truly believe if you listen to your heart and do your job, it's for a lifetime. And you also get paid. If you listen to your mind or your hip pocket, the wallet, then it lasts a lifetime, but it's death row all the time.
You've got to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy doing this job, I don't know how anybody could carry on.
So what do you really enjoy in being an MP?
Helping people.
So that is the prime driver.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you the best thing, what I find, I've got a really great staff team in Blaydon. I've got 5 people who work in that office for me. And they're doing things every day of the week for ordinary people, which a lot of them I don't even hear about. But people come in with everything from, there might be somebody's died, immigration problem, debt.
So they're doing the job with you, not even supervising them.
I don't think it's
but don't they say a good businessman is the one who leaves his office and the work still gets done?
No, absolutely. I've got a good manager, but everybody I've got, they've got a good history.
Tell me their names. I think we should. Helen, what's she do?
Helen is my PA.
Okay.
Which does a lot more than that. But
Hi, Helen.
She organises my calendar. She does all sorts. She fills all my business expenses and all that. All's paid through her, and I haven't got to worry about it.
Okay, so that's off your hands completely.
Yeah, so I haven't got, and it's a big.
And you totally trust her as well.
Completely. You don't trust her, you might as well give it.
Don't bother. Yeah.
Sheila does a lot of the casework on welfare issues.
Okay.
She used to work for a trade union called UCAT, which was a builders' union. She's a legal officer for them. She knows welfare inside out.
Okay.
And she's really, really strict.
So that's Sheila. Straight on the ball, yeah.
And I'll give you an example. I got a letter off a guy saying, thank you very much for what you've done for us. I'm really, really pleased. I said, what's this about? So she says, it was an old fella. She says, he'd been overpaid £64,000 by the DWP. And he didn't. This is over years.
Okay.
And they sent him a bill one day saying, our records have been updated.
And we noticed you've taken too much money from her.
No, we've given you how much money we wanted back.
Yeah.
And he hadn't got any money.
Yeah.
And she just basically went with him and she got it written off.
Yeah, because it's not his mistake. He spent it, yes.
This old fellow would have ended up in a debtor's place, And I just, and I've got people Liz is a caseworker for me. She's also a counsellor in Gateshead. I worked together with her in the trade union unison.
Okay.
She was working in the health sector and she also worked in the political sector. Gary Healy, who's also a counsellor, he works with me. He's filling in at the minute because we've had somebody who left work.
Right.
And he's filling. He's done a great job. He knows the constantly really, really well. He lives in Wickham. He knows that area really well. But he does lots of stuff within the council. And the manager's a guy called Paul Foy, I think you've met. And Paul obviously, he keeps all the balls in the air.
So all these 6 people?
5 people.
5 people.
And I have two part-time staff in London who do research work and general, but they only work 1 day a week, each of them.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that a lot of MPs do is they have a big staff team in London and not as big.
Not at their base.
And my view is...
It's the base where it matters.
And these are the people who send me down there.
Yes.
These are the people, because there's things, I'm not being disrespectful, but if somebody has a problem with their house...
In Blaydon.
In Blaydon or Birtley or wherever I live, if I've got to deal with that, I'm not then engaged in issues like Northern Ireland, international stuff.
Yes.
I'm not doing it.
Yes.
But if I've got staff who can sort that out, simply by picking the phone up and saying, I'm ringing on behalf of the MP, will you get this sorted? And people say, oh, yes, we will.
So it's as good as the MP talking to them.
Oh, absolutely. And
the only one I've ever dealt with is Tony and Bone. Anthony, this is Chi Ulvaras. It's as good as talking to Chi.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
immediately you get an answer on the email and so on.
It's got to be. And if it's not that way, I don't believe an MP can actually do the volume of work, particularly now with things like emails and Facebook. And all that.
Yes, because people are more demanding, more able to.
And it's like, stuff. I drive my staff mad because I try and answer my emails as soon as possible. A lot of MPs, I'm not knocking them. They work.
No, Cheese is very good. That's why I'm saying how good it is.
A lot of them say, we'll deal with an email the same as a deal with a letter, and you'll get a reply in 10 working days.
Oh, no. Email is not for 10 working days. You might as well send a pigeon.
Absolutely. Well, and then you get a bad name. He's not replying. And
then your party gets a bad name.
Yeah. And also, I think, even if you're telling people something they don't want to hear, they appreciate the fact you've got back to them.
Yes.
And I think that's the main thing,
Yes.
Because most people are quite sensible, they understand that one of the big issues we have is housing, right? The truth is, we haven't got enough houses to go around.
Yes, this is.
People come to me, it's like, can you help us? I say, well, look, what we'll do is we'll get all your information, we'll check with the housing company, make sure you're being treated properly, make sure on the list they've got all your information. You might have a health problem, or you might have had a kid that they don't know about. And you go through it, and the person's still where they were, but they know that you've checked it out for them, so they feel they're not on their own. And that's for me is what, all the other stuff, which is dead important. We talk about things, we send kids away to war, we put taxes up. All really important
but those
stuff.
are not Blaydon issues, those are national issues.
But for the real
down to earth.
And the real pleasure is when you come in and somebody says, we've got that sorted, that guy's got his house.
And he has a bunch of flowers.
Honestly,
something like
that. Yeah, you get a card of somebody.
Everything you're saying is true about general practice, as I say.
Absolutely.
Exactly the same, that I totally trusted my staff.
Yeah.
I mean, they might make a mistake, but I would have made more mistakes. And I said,
overwhelmed.
I said to Dorothy, anything you can do. I said, look, even if you're business-wise, you give the job to the least qualified, least person, if they can do it efficiently. I could vacuum my surgery. I could pick up the chewing gum from the carpet, but because I would occasionally pick up the chewing gum, the girls would see it. Oh, he can do it. I should do it. Yeah. It's by leading by example. Well, so it's called the servant leader, isn't it?
It is. But the other good thing, if we do the comparison with what you did and what I do, we have things called surgeries.
Yes,
it's exactly like it's because somebody walks through that door and you don't
know what they're coming with.
Somebody will come through and it'll be like, I want my windows painted. And that's important to them. But then the next person, I once had a guy come into my surgery, says, I want to talk to you about the murder of my wife. Oh. And what it was, his wife had died, it was criminal. It was clinical negligence.
Okay.
And I helped him, and a lovely fellow, 75-year-old.
Yes.
He lost the woman he loved all his life, and she should have still been alive.
Okay.
They were offering him comments. He didn't want comments. He wants someone to say sorry.
That's all. Really, that often is the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Often it isn't the money. All this claim today, have an accident tomorrow, but claim today kind of people.
Doesn't bring people back, does it?
No, it doesn't bring anyone back.
Well, he was like,
it's a feeling. I mean, I talk a lot about India. I once stood in Hyde Park about 4 years ago and said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a Sikh, I'm not a Punjabi, but I was born in Patna Sahib. That's where the last guru was born.
Right.
So already I've got them in my pocket, you know what I mean? And I said, if it weren't, I apologize on behalf of the Hindus. I'm no Hindu leader, but I hope I'm one person who can say sorry about what's happened. Okay, the guy went and hid himself in the Golden Temple, but you didn't have to send tanks to blast the temple, to burn their library, to attack all of them on a day when there would be maximum pilgrims. And later we saw that in the Red Mosque in Pakistan, they handled it much better. So, I speak as it is, whether it's India or Pakistan, for me, it's the same country, And and often people's egos get away with them, Often.
Completely.
It's often, and as soon as your ego gets in the way, you're done. You're finished. You're screwed. I can't say screwed on air, can I?
No, I didn't.
No, I can't.
I didn't need
Your headphones got wax in it.
I'll wipe it off the DVD.
So really, there is a huge amount of comparison between what you do. When you're in the chalk face, dealing with the public, or cold face in your case, chalk and cheese, man. Oh, God, it's hard talking to you. It's very difficult talking.
Let you talk. Go on, carry on.
Okay, so it is similar thing. People have a lot of knowledge. Let's talk about doctors. They are very knowledgeable. The skills are perfect, but the attitude hardens because the government controls them. ticky box medicine. That's what we are doing,
Absolutely.
Have you taken the blood pressure? Well, the guy's come to talk because his mother has died. Why should I take his blood pressure?
Exactly.
Often I went to the DWP. I'm talking about 1988 or something. I go with this guy. He's got schizophrenia. They're checking his height, his weight, his urine. I said, excuse me, why are you wasting each other's time?
Bag of tatties and all
Yeah. But the poor fellow, he's got an emotional, mental distress.
I used to sit on tribunals. I used to represent people in tribunals. I also sat on them, on deciding.
Where in Manor House Station?
Manners, but mainly when I was in Sunderland, there was one in
the
Civic Centre in Sunderland. Same thing. You have a legal guy, an employer, and somebody from the union side, and you'd hear people's cases, and it was like, well, he's the paper, and it's exactly what you said. There's no relevance to what the guy or the woman's going through.
And they make such a fuss about such fiddly things that just don't matter. So in a sense, you have the courage to be commonsensical.
But common sense, you're not dealing with people who've got common sense. And when you look at a lot of the things that they do when they're putting laws in, and I'm not being biased in this because all governments do it. They do got laws, and they have a thing called the law of unintended consequences. Things go wrong that you didn't think about.
But if you work in fear all the time, that's what it's about, isn't it? If you're always afraid you'll make a mistake. People buy a steam iron for £20 and then go and insure it for 3 years for £20. Come on, man, throw it away.
Exactly.
Get over it.
I've done that, definitely. I've
4-year-old children on a bike with, what do you call them, stabilizers, and they got a bloody helmet, like a Space Invader helmet. Why are people so scared, man?
I don't know what it is. It's like, we talk about me and my wife. When I started school at 5, I think my mother took us to school either once or twice. And after that was like, right, off
get on with it.
Yeah.
I was in Kerala and you could see along the, not highway, but a kind of raw kind of a highway, children of 4 to 10 are walking, holding hands. They might get killed, but they never get killed because the truck driver loves them and is careful.
I mean, I know there's more traffic.
But for the volume, very few people die.
Exactly.
In Delhi, you got lots of scratches on your car, but very few real accidents. Because here we feel once you're on the motorway, it's your right of way. And the fellow on the left. But being from India, I have to drive with the seat of my pants,
I haven't been in India, I've been other places. I've been in Kurdistan, they drive like that.
So why have you not been to India?
There's no reason why. I mean, both India and Pakistan, I've got a lot of friends from there.
Go to Goa first. It'll indoctrinate you.
Is Goa not the place to go to after you've been?
No. You're a goner then. No. South Goa is still quite pristine and pure.
Right, okay.
And they all speak English. They're all highly educated.
Well, they don't understand me then.
Well, you're talking Geordie. Aye. So do you speak, what language do you speak?
I speak pure English. Viking English, not this French stuff from Norway.
Like the Queen did yesterday at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or whatever.
See, the Queen, she's like the rest of them. She come here after William the Conqueror. We come from the east. We come from Viking land.
So do you love Bobby Thompson then?
Bobby Thompson is a great man. He should have been a saint.
Yes,
saint
he should be canonized.
Absolutely, aye.
Because when I went to Freeman Hospital on my first day, somebody said Gandun. Now, Gandun sounds very much like a passive gay.
It sounds very much like an Indian language.
Yeah, it sounds very, you would, with so many good friends, you would know the language,
Gandun there.
So I said, what do I say to this guy? I said, excuse me, are you English? He said, aye, Geordie. And then he says, I'm teasing you. I'm the plaster technician in Freeman. I know you got the job. So I'll teach you Geordie. He got me that book, Learn Yourself Geordie, Mike Neville. And then he gave me Bobby Thompson tape. So the next morning on Monday when I went, this very posh lady, the Mrs. Bucket Bouquet type of lady. And she said, oh, good morning, doctor. And I said, and how are you? I said, I read. And she just...
You said, I read pet.
And your pet, I didn't know the pet or Hini then.
You had a lot to learn.
And it was Ward 19.
Right.
And it was just amazing. The nurse took me under her wings. And I noticed something that as an Indian doctor, when I went on the ward, I got the total smell of the last Indian doctor. If he was nice, the nurses would be straight away nice to me. And if he was a little rotter, I would get bad vibes. And then I had to win my...
Well, I'll tell you a story about language. When I left the pit, I got a job up here in a care home. And I thought I was only going to be there part-time. 13-week contract. I ended up being there 16 years. The first night I was there's a little guy about 5 foot tall. And I take him to bed. I put him to bed and I rattled. I've never put him to bed in my life. And he's lying on the blanket and he started saying, I want the tablet for me balls. Back to balls,
Meaning ball.
Yeah, I said, what? I want the tablet for me balls.
Balls.
So I went to see the boss. I said, you like to come? He says, he wants a tablet for his bowels.
Yes.
I never work with elderly people, and it becomes an obsession with them, sadly. And I'm getting there now myself, actually.
Okay, I'll just make an announcement. I've got a few friends in Newcastle left. Would some of you please come to the studio and bring some? Would you like some Coke?
Or Diet Coke, of course.
Or Diet Coke, yes, of course. I can see.
Me equator.
So anyone, Sayed and all, please come to the studio. Amer, if you're coming, you said you would come. Bring some Diet Coke.
Chips.
With some chips as well. Otherwise, I don't mind spending the money, but I'll have to break the show, go across to Mickey's and get it. He makes lovely chips. Mickey, if you are listening, get some chips, please. I'm using my phone for video recording. Otherwise, I would have texted him. Because, our mouths are getting dry from the excessive talking.
No, talking too much.
Aye. Why not?
It's a beautiful song. Forever Young.
Let's have a listen to it.
Bob Dylan.
May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth.
Why does this song touch you so deeply?
Because it says, it's a guy singing to the woman he loves, and I want you to stay forever young. And I just think, what else? You couldn't wish anything better for anyone, could you? Because we all know, sadly, the aging process, we can't know anything about it, but, if you could wish that on somebody, that's so close.
I had a fellow here, age 88, and he still teaches English on the internet to people in Brazil and so on. 88-year-old guy. He comes to our speakers club. And when he came, and he was a very touching interview, very, very honest guy, very poor guy in his time. And he says, and we went to the cinema hall, and I did something I'd never done before. I held her hand. It was so touching, for him. And that warmth of a fellow human's love. We forget these moments, don't we?
Nothing finer.
Exactly. Here's a phone call. Hello, caller. Who's that, please?
Yes, would you like salt and vinegar on the
Yes, please. And do join in. You're welcome. That's a payment you make, but please.
I was actually coming with 3 friends, but it's just me on my own. And I was going to bring gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Okay, this baby in the basket is a bit big. He needs salt and vinegar.
I'll see you very shortly.
See you, my friend. Our prayers have been answered. Thank God for modern technology.
That's got to be done.
That's amazing. That
you should have a green room. If I'd been a real star, I'd have had a green room, wouldn't I?
Video killed the porn star. No, the radio star. But it's amazing how we can call on, See, to be a bit more serious, the beacon is so beautifully placed here. Thank God that the people who wanted a mosque here fell apart and they didn't want it. It was going to be a mosque. It was a fire station.
I remember the fire station.
But it's so beautifully located, and thank God Spice is here, and we have the opportunity to link people.
That's brilliant.
It's just amazing, nowhere in the world.
Really good.
I mean, what do you think of race relations in the north?
See, I was thinking this coming through. It's easy for me to say I think that they're really good, but I don't live in an area where there's a predominance of black people. So it's like, I don't. As I say, I spend a lot of time down in London, in Tootenbeck. Tootenbeck is like the League of Nations. You walk down the street,
yes,
and there's
just so many types. Yes,
everything.
Yes,
it's like not a problem. No. There's a market. You go to a market, you can get food from Brazil, from China, and I say no problem at all. And I think when I come up here, same thing.
In Newcastle itself.
Yeah. More so Newcastle than obviously. I mean, where I come from a series of pit villages where there was hardly anybody from. There was one guy,
except the fish and chip shop or the corner shop.
But even then, it was still relatively rare in the place I came from. But there was one guy who was a West Indian who lived in the village we lived in, Neville. I mean, he's great with everybody, but it wasn't in any sense integrated or just he was just there. He was one of the guys. But I think that overall, when you look at some of the nasty stuff that's going on now in politics in particular, and all this stuff about the rise of the UKIP and people like that, it masks the fact that
but there's so much love between the communities.
Yeah, the treading on people's fears.
How can the minority community integrate more? I mean, by integrate, I don't mean you can't wear this, you can't wear that. Actually mix with each other and talk. I mean, I have a thing about the council. why is Normanton Terrace only Bengali and Middleton Avenue only Pakistani? I mean, if people choose to buy houses next to each other, you can't help it. The Muslims want to be near a mosque and all that. But the council should try to break it up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah. All you're doing is institutionalizing it, aren't you?
Yes, you're institutionalizing this. Yes. You know, the Excelsior Academy, I'm very close to it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's excellent.
They're a lovely place.
Yeah.
And because now Romanians and Gypsies and Czechs are coming, then the Indians and Pakistanis and the white boys and girls are ganging up together. And the headmistress Philomena noticed this. And she phoned and said, would you like to do some sort of a breakup thing? I said, what would you have? She said, we'll have food from all the countries, but you come and make a speech. So I wore the reddest kurta pajama, the Indian clothes that I normally wear. And I had a flute. And I started singing, Mera juta hai Japani, ye patlu. And they all started clapping. I said, don't clap. You don't understand a word what I'm saying. And one fellow shouted, so what? We love the music? I said, So the common thing that combines us. And interestingly, there was a gypsy type guy who was playing his keyboard. Lovely guy. David Bihari is his name. And Bihar is a state from India that I come from.
All right.
So probably he's like the 50th, 60th generation Bihari who's gone all the way to Europe. He's still darker than me, though he's in England. So it's amazing when you start making these roots.
Music is a national language, isn't it?
Well, music, food, and the third thing you can't mention sex on this show.
I wouldn't even dare to mention it.
Okay, you can't mention balls or sex or anything.
Absolutely.
No, we won't. It's terrible.
Below the belt.
That's why you're hiding it under the table.
Well under.
Down under.
So
you're hiding Australia.
Well, you know right down there, not so bad.
How do you cope with the parliament with the stuffy old guys?
I'm one of them.
The proper, but you're not a proper wasp. You're just a normal human being, man. You're too human to be in the parliament. How do you manage it?
I just put up with them. You know, it's like people say things like, you know, it's like the travel. People say, "Oh, how do you live?" It's like, well, it's just the job. You know, you can't. You just got to live with it. And a lot of them are not as stuffy as what they appear to be.
If you are a 5-month-old baby, and I've sent it on Facebook, a puppy will come and lie next to you, and then you lick each other's face. You don't know the difference. And then you're taught, oh, that's an animal, you're a human. Oh, that's a girl, you're a boy. Oh, that's a Muslim, you're a Hindu. Oh, that's a white guy. And, you know, we create these barriers.
Well, you find things like, you find common interests, like, you know, people have interest in sport. There's a Tory MP who he's a Newcastle fan. And I went to
So that's your commonality with him.
Yeah, he hates me, I hate him. But we only hate each other because he's a Tory and I'm a Labour.
Speaking of hate, look who's here.
He's the man.
The man. Come on, settle in. Oh, good afternoon, sir.
Right.
Salt and vinegar.
Gold frankincense in there.
It just shows you how far behind we are.
Wow, what a man.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, you'll see this on YouTube. In walks in Amer, my lovely friend of Wednesday afternoons. We do a show with him on philosophy. He brings in Joel Yoli, who was a fighter pilot in Israel, a Jewish guy, and now comes here. He brings in Anthony, who is not in the parliament, though he's been in Eton. And now the food will soon be eaten.
That's right. Dave, I know you used to be an MP, but I
used to be.
You used to be a miner. But I was wondering, do you use a fork now that you're an MP?
No, just good fingers.
You brought a fork, have you?
Well, I thought, you know,
as long as that wiping on your jumper.
we have got such an esteemed guest here, you know.
Oh, it was a steam last night.
God, he's so funny, this guy. I don't know how he copes in the parliament. Don't you laugh under your breath?
All the time. But you get to know people on a personal basis.
Yes.
And actually, even though you're politically different, like some guys like to go to the races. I like to go to the races. And,
Okay, so you find a common theme.
I mean, some of them are like, you know, I go to Northern Ireland.
Please forgive the rustling of the food. On Radio 4, somebody made a major complaint that we can hear people eating. How disgusting. So please get disgusted. We are having chips here and we'll put some music on. Chips all around. So while we have mouthfuls of food in our mouths, of course, obviously.
You know,
Amer wants to say something.
I think it's just how we experience people ourselves. And, you know, Dave is so different than everybody else. And this isn't to the detriment. I think it's just to the experience of how I've experienced Dave. And the thing is, most MPs, you know, they come out their way and they come and try to make a difference. and you have the shaking hands ceremony.
So it's all ceremonies, the photo shoots.
The entourage walks in,
Yes.
they listen, and they go.
Like any other sheikh from Saudi.
Of course.
Same kind of style, you know.
They come in, they shake,
Yes,
and they
yes.
go. And but you know, Dave, I've noticed he's never done that. He's actually part of the whole experience. You know, I think you've got to be commended for that, Dave.
So Dave,
You know, you're there on a personal level.
Well, I just think it's a huge it's a huge privilege to do this job, and we get bloody well paid for it as well. Let's make no mistake. But right, I get more money. I work for the council. I was getting 20 grand a year. The week after I'm working in Parliament, I've trebled my wages. It's good money, and you get the chance to go around the world, and you can do.
and you meet the most interesting people.
Yeah, and you can life changing stuff.
But what's kept you being remembering who you actually are and not giving yourself up to the job?
I think a lot of it was because I was quite old when I went in. I was 51-year-old when I went in.
So you've had a lot of life experience. So you're not a professional MP.
Well, I'm professional.
Because there are those who start-
Oh, absolutely. I think part of the problem now is we've got MPs and also ministers who have absolutely no knowledge of the real world. So when, you know, they make decisions...
And when they were born, they decided to become an MP, kind of. They've been
Absolutely.
groomed
Yeah.
into becoming...
Well,
Sorry, you can't use...
It's a career in a sense.
Yes, it's not a vocation, it's a career.
It's a career path. It's like,
Yeah.
like you said before, you were a doctor. From an early age, you would have known...
I didn't know I want to be a doctor. I was going to be an engineer. Then I decided that what I made...
You obviously weren't clever enough.
No, I wasn't clever enough to be
I
an
was an
engineer.
engineer.
And my handwriting was bad. I used to make radios and all.
So you have a mutual understanding how both of you slipped through the net.
Absolutely.
No, I slipped through the net because I found that I wanted to please the people by making radios for them. And I thought, why not work with people itself? Like you, I mean, you careened into becoming who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, a miner makes holes in coal.
Right. But I was doing... See, I've always been in active trade unions, and that's about helping people.
And that's only about helping people.
And it's about making things better for them and hopefully...
But then you became a... I'm aware that all of our mouths are working overtime.
What keeps you grounded, David? I know you mentioned, you know, it is that, but there is something which you possess which other MPs
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
And it's a grounding that you have.
I think it's just the basis of... I don't take myself too seriously, might be part of it. And I don't look... I tell you, you know, the biggest thing in politics is if you want to get on, there's a lot of patronage in politics. It's not like, you know, in some parts of the world, patronage is saying by getting a bone, getting fiddles. It's not. It's getting positions. And because of my background, because, you know, relatively left-wing views compared to, you know, where even my own party is, I know that I'm not going to be put in a position of real influence.
So you won't be allowed to be in a place where they all like you, even in your own party.
It's not a question of like, it's a question of, because my idea of how the world should run, even a Labour world, is different from the people who lead the party. It's more
Exactly what I'm saying.
They're more in the middle of the road than I'd be much more radical, I'd be much more left-wing than what they are.
So you're much more you.
Yeah.
And you don't fit in.
I don't fit in the way that they want. So I think, you know, so I don't get worked up about that.
So you're a...
The only way I could change that is by changing what I do, what I believe in.
Okay. So you're a square peg in a round hole. Sorry, you're a round peg in a square hole.
I'm round, all right.
Let's not go there, please, yeah. We don't have to lower the tone. This is a very high level.
I'm talking about round all over. I'm not talking about anything under the table. Anyway.
You know, I had a thought, you know.
He had a... Shh. Amer had a thought.
I had a thought.
The world...
You know, I was thinking about politics, and actually it was because of Dave that I learned how politics has gone now. It's before politics. We used to think was for the people, and we had a choice of how we could take charge of our lives and run our country. But you know, the last few years, I think it's an illusion of choice.
So then, would you say I came to this country?
I think that's down to individuals. There's an old saying that you get the representation you deserve, and if people put up with people who were like not representing them the way they think, then the only answer is to get rid of people.
That level, Dave, you know, I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday about, you know, when we went to the Iraq War. I hope you don't get talking about that. And 1 million people marched on the house. It was unheard of, unprecedented, and nothing was done about it. So, you know, that did sort of leave. Well, I can speak for myself. Yeah, I like to speak for myself. It's definitely slightly cynical, you know, with the process.
Absolutely.
You know.
But I mean, I was in Glasgow that day, and I marched against. I actually brought the union out of the Labour Party conference in Glasgow to march on the street against the war, and we weren't listening to them. If Blair wanted to be cynical, would say, well, yeah, 1 million people marched, but that means 55 million people didn't.
Yeah.
You know, he never actually made that. But what he'd also say is, and whether you agree with him or not, he would say, part of being a leader is you're going to lead and do things that are unpopular. You know, and sadly, that's the reality. I think it was a huge mistake. We're still paying for it. I mean, having spent some time in Iraq since the war, my view is we should have gone in there 20 years beforehand.
Yeah.
When Saddam was wiping the Kurds off the face of the earth and destroying the marsh Arabs and all that. But because he was keeping the Ayatollah happy and a million young...
So he's doing something good for the benefit of
the
this.
West.
Yes,
For the West.
yes.
You know, there was a million Iraqis and Iranian lads got killed.
But when I say good, I mean...
just turned a blind eye because we were all right, which was rubbish.
I'm all right, Jack.
Yeah, but, you know, finally, it's like having a dog that keeps on nipping at your heels and starts biting you, and finally we decide to put the dog down. But the damage is done then. And then you make a scrub up of the actual outcome, which is where we are today, which is a much, much more confused and dangerous situation than it ever was.
Yeah,
and you know, I don't think any of us can say where we are at this moment in time. And
it's not, isn't it? It's frustrating.
Well, I tell you, and God forbid we ever even think about it, but even thought of going back in military wise, I'm not sure that would work. Even there'd be no support for it, and I would never argue for it. But,
and even militarily, it would be futile almost.
Disaster.
Yeah.
Because well, you might get rid of the militants, but you then come back down to now what, which is what they didn't do.
Yeah.
Because you know, the more I think I spent a lot of time in America. I remember when George Bush got elected, people used to took the mickey out of the man. They saw him as a buffoon, and he was a buffoon. And yet Blair, who, whatever you thought about Blair, he wasn't stupid. He was completely taken in by this guy. And it was like, the one thing above all else the Bush was used to, that was foreign relations.
Yeah.
He's a man saying we're going to go in there. And he really did think, it's like, hey, I'm the sheriff, I'm going to go into town, clean up Dodge and get out.
Yeah,
It'll be all right.
We'll go and get, about 9/11, say we'll go and get them. Like some cowboy.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you one of the best, somebody said, I can't remember when it was, but somebody said, Alexander the Great couldn't beat these people, so on earth will George Bush beat? And it's right, Alexander the Great ruled the world, but he bought in Persia, didn't he? He had to back off in Persia. But
I say that constantly about Afghanistan as well. You know, it's been such a tribal nation. Nobody's ever conquered it. The Russians tried for 13 years. But they didn't know what they were getting into. If it's not outward fighting, it's internal fighting. It's tribal.
But
People
again,
are willing to die.
But again, then you had the Americans coming in, playing chess with people's lives, funding and supporting what became the Taliban to get rid of the Russians. And then the war when they left the problem festering on the ground.
Do you feel we're getting exposed to too much violence in wars there because of people's reactions now? I mean, even you're talking about that subject with the children in Peshawar, and it's like, it's so horrific.
And we're talking something very crude and extremely painful, and exposing our own children here to...
In the 70s, when if one person died in Newcastle, everybody knew about it. But now there's hundreds, thousands dying every day, and we just...
And just a statistic.
Choose which what we want to acknowledge.
Yes.
Well, whenever I discuss with people about the Iraq war and stuff like this, they get on, and I say to them, because I went to a 10th anniversary of 9/11 in London, and it was with Comrade Mushtaq Ashari.
And then Mushtaq.
And somebody come from the Pakistani High Commission, they made a speech, and he said, do you realise 35,000 people have died in Pakistan? And I never had a clue.
Yes.
And that's 3 years ago. There's probably another 10,000 add on to that now.
Yeah, thousands.
And yet, you think, you know, I'm not in any way underestimating, you know, the lads who died from our country and from the States, etc., and other people. But effectively, Pakistan officially isn't part of this thing. Yet there's 40, 50,000 people killed, and nobody cares that about. I mean, quite right. I mean, you know, God forbid this thing with the kids has brought some awareness, but you know that skill's been going on for ages.
Yeah,
and it's just like, well, and it's mainly because Bush bent the Pakistanis' arms to let us use that as the route in Afghanistan, and then they disappeared. But the Pakistani people, only people paying the price.
And that bent arm's being broken, and it's difficult when it's going to be fixed.
Yeah, you give me a AK-47 and then say, oh, can you hang it on the... No, I won't.
I put it away,
Don't put it away. It's like women in the World War II, wasn't it? When they started wearing trousers to make the munitions. You can't say, now go back in your skirts.
Well, no, in a sense, you see, when you talk about media, in a sense, World War II and all that, it was actually, you know, the motivational speeches by Winston Churchill that were there specifically for that reason.
Yeah. To
motivate people publicly and give them that spirit to, you know, stand up against oppression, etc., and give them that will to fight.
But sadly, Hitler was also a very good orator.
He was,
and he got people on the side of him that wouldn't normally have joined him.
And they did the same thing in the First World War, didn't they? You were probably more...
near to what you are.
Do you think that with modern technology and ordinary people like Dee and me, talking about it makes it more grounded than one big leader makes a speech and we just kowtow to him.
I would hope so. See, one of the worries I have is that there's so much cynicism now towards leaders that if there was another Hitler, so whatever you think about it, I think when somebody as bad as Hitler comes along, when there's no other choice, you've got to fight them, right? And I like to think I'm a pacifist, but do you just turn a blind eye when these people are doing what they were doing? And thankfully we didn't, because God knows what would have. But now I worry that even if there's a justified situation, like I support the bombing raids in Syria, because not because the government convinced me, but really good friends of mine from Kurdistan.
Who are on the ground?
Yeah, good friends of mine who've been in the Peshmerga in the 80s and 90s. Trade union officials wrote to me, spoke to me on the phone, said, Dave, please give us support because it's happening again. We're getting wiped out again. And they're convinced me to support it. Only that limited action.
Yep.
But a lot of people, particularly on the left, said, you couldn't possibly support it because of the mess that's there. But you just leave the mess.
No. Even if you get your hands dirty, so what? I mean, this thing that happened in Peshawar in the school, I mean, we were just talking about it, Amer and I. What do people have to do to be noticed now?
You have to be more shocking, don't you?
More shocking and more shocking.
It's what I've noticed as well is the fact that we are becoming.
The diet starts here, right?
I don't know, Dave. I'm eating a bowl of salad. You're free to have it. But what's happened is we have become armchair racists, armchair feminists, armchair activists, and everything else. Because in a sense, I think on a bigger scale, it's getting more and more difficult
to do something.
And that's where the cynicism is coming in.
But I'll disagree with you on your own stuff you told me. You actually want to go to Peshawar to help the children and the adults cope with the pain.
Trauma debriefing.
And you spoke to the Imam yesterday?
Yeah.
And he was quite shocked that you're not looking for money. Yeah. You're looking for an opportunity to go and help.
Yeah, I'm looking for connections so I can fly out there. So I'm trained in critical trauma.
So those who are listening, this gentleman, Amer, will spend his own money and go and help people. There is no, one day, and this is all political as well. 30 years ago, Sanam and I raised £500 in the Great Hotel when they had bought it. The Handas had bought the hotel to raise funds for Pakistan floods. I thought, I'm an Indian, he's a Pakistani, we'll do it together. Unfortunately, Dr Anand, the non-Muslim, signed it. I'm sure it's nothing to do with it. And the check was returned by the Pakistani High Commissioner saying, no, thank you. So we sent it to the biggest Indian at that time, Mother Teresa. And she didn't just thank me, she slapped me. She said, it's all right sending a check. When will you work for the poor?
That's nice.
With people of that caliber, they don't take the money and say, you're lovely, God bless you. They say...
I think that, in a sense, we still have instances like that, but I think discussing them in that context of Indian Pakistani actually takes it away from the issue.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I'd say it's a person.
Yes.
Going like myself, I'm waiting for a response to fly out there at the first possible day to go and work with people. But I'm doing it for humanity's sake. Because I'm Muslim.
No.
Because I possess a certain skill which is able to help someone.
Yes, you have got the goods you want to deliver. Simply. So listeners, if you can find a way of connecting Amer Mirza, my email, anandji@me.com. I eat and sleep and I live here. I even eat chips here. So you can contact me I'm also looking for Mumtaz Ahmed, who is a journalist from Pakistan, and he could link you up. So Mumtaz, I've been trying to phone you for the last 3 days. I don't know whether in Pakistan or Fenham or on the Indian Ocean. I don't know where you are because I phoned both of them. So people like you should connect him because he wants to give love, time, effort. He's skilled in the field. So what is the skill you want to? I know you're a psychotherapist, but
I'm also trained in level 4 in critical trauma debriefing.
Critical trauma debriefing. What does that mean?
Basically, you can have major incidents, accidents, car crashes, terrorist attacks, everything else, and get the person grounded so they're at a place as quickly as possible to be able to deal with the effects of that trauma. So basically discussing the trauma, looking where they are and giving them a grounding, because the first thing that sets in shock
is to detachment
and mental.
Yeah,
of course, and
because you can't cope with it. It's too painful.
It is, and you need help in that way, and just to say there are people out there that can help because they understand what you're going through.
Wow. In 1971, I was on the border of East Pakistan and India before it became Bangladesh, and I went for a week, but I stayed 3 weeks there, and I saw so much pain. But the best part of it was Pakistani soldiers from the other side of the river were waving me and giving me a thumbs up, saying, thank you for looking after these little kids. You know, there's a heart in every soldier.
Of course there is.
And we forget that. They're made to kill.
Yeah.
They didn't join the party to go around killing people.
I mean, I work with the Veterans Project, and it's mainly lads who you've met some of them. Lads who've been damaged through war, and, you know, and what we ask them to do, we ask them to do abnormal things. We really do. And then they come back home and say, right, get on with your life. And a lot of them can't adjust, and they need support because they've come from an environment which no human being should be put in.
Well, even if you come out of the military in peace times, it's a regimented life. Like a monk, it's 3 to 4 you do this, 5 to 6 you enjoy. You come home and you don't know how the hell to deal with
and
yourself.
the world's changed completely from when you went in.
They're trying to change it now, you know, but the problem is my son is in the Marines. And the thing is, they're not prone to approach things like this because they're not manly.
Exactly. It's macho.
You know,
if you've got stress and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
So they've been brought.
Real men don't have stress.
Yeah,
that's right.
So they've been brought up on the alpha male testosteronic.
Well, you know, for a number of years, we've tried to find links within the Ministry of Defence to identify this, where we can work with to show them that you aren't losing your manhood in any way by approaching this. You're actually bringing, because you see, the thing is, you get a person, you train them to such a level where they operate in a certain environment. Yeah. They're good in that environment, they work in that environment, but when you take them out and put them in a different environment, you have to give them the skills and the help to make them adjust.
Like freshwater fish in the sea.
You know, and you know, and it's a two-way road. You know, we can sit here and criticise the folks and say they don't, but they are trying. But then if some people aren't receptive enough, you have to build different types of bridges out of different type of materials.
The biggest thing to get them talking about is start. The guy who runs this project, like old Tony Wright, runs a project called Forward Assist. You should get him on.
What's it called?
Forward Assist. He's actually been in here. We had some guys across from America.
Forward Assist.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's based at the Sage up in Benton, but they're all over Tyne side. And they do things like train people who fishing coaches, and what they're doing is while they're actually learning how to fish properly, they stand by the riverbank, and you basically, your mind sort of drifts, and you concentrate on, and you talk about the things. It's really what.
So while your mind has opened up, the curtains up, so you can get through.
And you're just having a chat. And we've spread it. We've developed a twinning link in Arkansas and America. We've been across there and met some of the lads over there. And they've had exactly the same experiences, and they've come back to a world that's like they just failed.
So Dave, you're such an ordinary guy who's kept his ordinariness, and who keeps his nest as well, and who manages everything. How does the Labour Party tolerate you? Because you are a free thinker anywhere, whether you are in Conservative Labour, you'd be just you.
The Labour Party is a free thinking organisation.
No, but that's all right. But free thinkers don't like other free thinkers.
Well, you know,
how do you cope? I mean that genuinely.
Seriously, I don't know. I'm just me. You know.
So are they convinced that you're doing it for the best good?
I think so. I think I've got a pretty decent reputation.
Maybe we should have asked the boss either.
Hello, caller. Who's that, please?
Jasmine.
Jasmine, it has to be. Your radio is echoing. Only Jasmine can do that.
Yeah, really.
Hello, Jasmine. May I first of all congratulate you heartily for taking the trouble to come all the way to the Beacon, for staying about 2 hours here in the cold night. Thank you very much. I love you for it. Thank you. Jasmine phones a lot of shows. Yesterday, she came yesterday.
No, that's nice.
Okay, well, Jasmine.
Thank you very much also.
All right, you're listening. Go on. Anything you want to say to Dave Anderson or Amer?
Dave Anderson, is it?
Yes, hello.
Yeah.
How are you, Jasmine?
Dave Anderson is an MP.
Psychotherapist that you're talking about just now.
That is me, Jasmine.
The other person is Amer, who was in the corner talking to the Imam.
Right, I do have something to say.
Please.
A point to pick up about what you just said, whether or not it is of any use that the programs that you have now talking about as free thinkers, we have any use, will any use come out of it? I support you in saying, furthering that argument, saying that yes, of course it will. Because, hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes,
just because I'm quiet doesn't mean I'm not listening. Like
he's eating his chips.
Sometimes a phone goes off and there is no signal.
It's only Spice, man. It's Spice. It's not the BBC.
The signal just went off and I couldn't get back on the air.
Okay, go on then.
So, what I was saying was that what we need, particularly this talk, is the beginning of the start of doing something towards what can and can't transpire.
Wow.
That's exactly right. But that's one of the reasons why I came on the show.
With this in mind, we need to create what you call safety networks.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need each country, hopefully, to help each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that as free thinkers, people can create positive and helpful channels of action towards each other.
So there is love and support for each other, yeah?
On the level of politics, what we need is the change of methodology yes, this technology is of great help, and it will go on helping, and it will also keep changing.
Wow. Well
So
spoken.
we need to encompass that and channel its use, particularly in order to help males and females in everyday walk of life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because in every walk of life, the atmosphere is so bad now. As people who are voters, I think there's too much discontent, and the public, as such, cannot voice their opinions because they're only given once a year or something like that a voting right to say yes or no, and that's not very productive for anybody.
Jasmine, on Dave's views, I think you've heard him discussing it this morning. What do you feel about that? Because as I mentioned earlier, there are very few MPs like Dave around who actually believe in what you say. But I'm saying, what do you think of Dave's views listening to the show?
What I think about that is that a lot of MPs who are on the other side, who are not free thinkers, they might have a lot of home issues or political issues and educational or as free thinkers, lack of being free thinking individuals within the systems of politics, whichever area they are in, and they change incrementally only, depending on how the public agenda comes up as to whether they have given any issues for them to deal with.
What would you do which could change the way, or of this, the way this is going? What is one thing you could do to change this?
Well, what I feel is first of all, we've got to have these safety networks, which have to exist on the level where women can have access to politics if they are well educated. If they're not, they won't, because they do need to be able to read and write and discuss publicly as well as in their localities. And that is just one issue. Then there is the issue of the politicians. Or they also have to have a negotiation level within the public, not at a voter's level of once a year kind of thing, but you have to have more interaction, talk with the public as to what's going on without them having to be afraid as to what the issues are and how the public must, and not just sit there 5 years after and putting, God knows whether they do or they don't put money in their own pockets.
Jasmine,
Jasmine.
Can we just let
They're also afraid
Jasmine.
of so many.
Okay, Jasmine,
Yeah.
you've given 3-4 very strong points. I'll let you go. I'll let Dave answer them.
Just Jasmine, for me, it's all about people. If you don't care about people, then you shouldn't be doing this job. And I think sadly, a lot of the people who are in my position forget that that's what we're here for. We should be here try and make a better world for everybody that we work with. In terms of talking to people, the one thing, I'm not very good on IT, but the one positive thing about IT and emails and Facebook and things like that is now people have much, much better access to MPs than they ever had in the past.
Would they reprise?
No, whether this is part of the issue.
This is what we were saying.
If the MPs ignore that, then I think it's actually detrimental to them. And, you know, at the end of the day, democracy is about getting rid of people you don't like as well as voting for people you do like. And if the MP doesn't deliver for the people, then quite rightly, whatever party they're from, the people shouldn't support them.
Yeah. Would you say, I take her point to another level, my son Prasoon, he has been in America to a guy who's sadly now died. And he says in everything, never mind the MPs, the council, whatever they do, people can vote now at the click of a button, you know.
Yeah.
And they'll say it's only the people with computers
Access.
and people. But so what? That's where the world is.
Yeah.
I went to a talk for old people to join computers.
Right.
And the lady said, we'll give it to you in paper. I said, no. These are people who are already on computers and we want to encourage the process.
Yeah.
Don't keep rewarding the people who are the tail enders. So her point is quite good. You know, if 5 years we have to wait to change a party, that's a long time. Shouldn't it be an cumulative, not an additive, like an exam, not at the end of 5 years only?
Well, if you look at it, right, it's only been, this is the first time it's ever officially been 5 years, because until now, it's 5 years. But until now, the Prime Minister could dictate when the election was, any time in the 5 year period.
Oh, I see.
It was a 5 year maximum. But you see, you got the example, I'll give you an example where in America you have Congress, which is a 2 year period. And if you speak to congressmen, they'll basically tell you, you spend the first 6 months getting into
embedded,
Then you spend the last year preparing for the next election.
So you only need 6 months to do any work.
I really think that, you know, you've got to look at things.
So there's sense in what you're saying.
Look, I could cry because we've had 4 years of a government which I believe is taking this country backwards, and we've got another 6 months of them. Hopefully, come May, we won't have them anymore, I hope.
Okay. It doesn't depend on the baton you handed. See, I'm a believer of that. That, you know, if you handed a baton, Labour, Conservative, they're given a state of affairs and they have to deal with it.
But see, the thing is, where you're wrong is, when you hand a baton on, you hand it on to somebody on the same team. And in our country, it's confrontational. You do hand the baton on.
Exactly what
people don't want the baton, but what they also want, they have a completely different way of dealing with whatever the. You know, if we'd won 4 years ago, we would have dealt with the state the country was in a different way to what this government has. Whether we'd been more successful, I obviously believe we would have, but we might not have. Only time would have told.
But the counter argument there, isn't it, is what we had. I mean, this was happening on the political stage. Was firstly there was a lot of time spent by the Conservatives pointing out, suggesting, saying that it was Labour that did this. Now we're picking up these pieces, and now it's.
You always do.
Yeah.
So it's
that's what I mean by the baton.
Because there's an element of whatever, particularly if you come into a time when you have gone through some trauma, then obviously there's some truth in that. Whether there's an argument whose fault it might be, but the truth is the country was in a really bad economic state when the last election was. The issue is, has it really improved that much, despite the fact of all the really, really stringent things this government's done? The situation isn't really that much better, and certainly isn't that much better for people on the ground. Where it comes back, where I started this discussion about people. Now, if you could put graphs on that wall, and it could show you, oh look, the deficit's down, the GDP's up. Go and talk to the guy out there who's going to work.
That's all statistic and paper and think tanks.
20% off, worse off, and he's working in the council, and half his mates have gone. He's out to cover for their jobs, and people are going to hospital. You know, we've got accident emergency because the staff's under stress and all this and the other. Yeah, that's the reality. That's what I'm saying about people, and ultimately, some kids once asked me. Did some stuff with the class. I love working with kids, and this kid said, "What do you think an MP's job should be?" I said, "You know, really, when you think about it, our job should be to make people happy.
That's all.
You know, now you can have an argument about, you know, so, and obviously you could say, well, how will you make people happy? You know, some people say, well, I'll be happy if I never go to work ever again. You know, some people say,
no, that's a very pathetic human being.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, you've got to get up. But like, if you haven't got an intention about making the world a better place for all of us to live in,
then you're in the wrong place.
Absolutely.
The wrong world, wrong country. Okay, let's have a break there. It's past. I'm 7 minutes late. I was 7 minutes late in meeting you as well, because I was, as you know, editing till 3:30 in the morning.
Only you were late with everything, Doc, and not premature.
The late Dr Anand.
It's Red Hot Radio. Spice FM 98.8 FM.
Trusted me when you're down and out. You out.
Hello, we have Dave Anderson on air along with Amer, And thankfully, we finished the chips so we can talk more than we eat.
And my salad.
And his salad, yes, you look like very... he looks like a salady person, doesn't
salad,
he?
yes.
All green and kind of yuck.
Slowly being eaten away.
And turning into, what, compost?
That's right. I think we're all butter worms.
But I'm still gold.
So why is politics so confrontational? We all say we are doing good for the country, and yet you can't stand each other. Not you personally, you are a very
Why don't we
different...
say passionate? Why don't we use
Why don't they speak from the heart? Where is it all from the mind and pocket?
It is confrontational because...
Why?
Because basically we have a different view on how to make the world a better place.
But there's a middle path that the Buddhists talk about all the time. Why can't you all be Buddhists?
I've no idea. No idea. It's too bloody hard a question.
Buddham, Sharanam. No, but truly, more seriously, why is every issue taken up? I mean, there are issues. People take up an issue and they forget the other main issues that they're avoiding. They take up issues to avoid other issues. Like she was saying, quite rightly, there are politicians who have got family problems, so take it out on the parliament.
I don't think that's the case. I mean, it's just...
Are there no nutters in the parliament?
Of course there is. There's nutters in every walk
So
of
we're
life.
not digging for dirt here,
There's
though.
nutters, doctors,
Policemen,
We're celebrating
psychotherapists.
yeah. They're all, it's in the title, and it's psycho. No, there's,
Psycho the
it's
rapist.
just... I think it's because people are passionate, and people. If you look at the basic difference between what's the main party in this country, Conservative and Labour, you basically got completely different ideologies.
So what is a Labour person then?
I believe a Labour person is somebody who believes in
helping people.
Yeah, but using the state as part and parcel of doing that, whereas the Conservatives completely don't want the state involved in anything. And I just think that...
So it's all private enterprise, me.
Yeah, and also like, because they can then keep more of their own money, and that's fine if you've got money.
Lord this, Lord that.
I mean,
Okay.
a lot of this, if you go back to where we were before the war, where effectively that's where I would argue is where this government wants to take us.
Okay.
That you have things like private medicine, which is fine if you've got the money. Private education, fine if you've got the money.
Private police.
Well, the police are not being privatised.
Private customs.
The privatised now, aren't they? A lot of the public
customs
services, some of the
Oh my
people who
God.
work in the customs is privatised.
Really?
Of course they are, yeah.
How about here's a question, Dave? An interesting one. You've probably been asked this 100
You
times.
think it's an interesting one?
He feels it.
We'll let you know whether it was what we meant.
Let him.
Dave, I find looking at empty spaces in the sky interesting.
Oh, no, that's why you're a psychotherapist.
Thinking outside the box.
If you were Prime Minister on Monday, what would you do?
I'd have a day off.
Like the rest of them.
I declare a public holiday. You're making people happy with all of a holiday.
Of course you are, yeah. We'd be very happy if you're Prime Minister, Dave, by the
If
way.
I had a number one priority, I'll tell you what I believe the biggest thing in this country, what we could do is getting people back to work, proper work.
Mm-hmm.
Not, this government...
Not council jobs.
Well, not just necessarily council jobs, just...
No, it was YTS, what we had years
jobs.
ago.
Yeah.
Jobs, right. Well, I've just dropped somebody off when I got lift back in my car this morning, and she was getting a lift, and she's working in a place where they're paying her £3.80 an hour. She's
£3.80 an hour?
She's under 18. She's like,
Okay.
she's not, doesn't claim the full minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but when they get to the wage, the age when they can get it, they sack them.
Yeah.
That's exploitation. I would take people who do that to the wall. I really would. But I think we should be using... I have no problem with spending taxpayers' money on putting people into work because that is... It gives people a place in life. It gives them self-esteem. It gives them something to get out of bed for. It gives them a status and it gives them some money in the pocket. And I think you're better off doing that than paying people not to do work.
How could you change that then? What changes, what reforms would you bring in?
I'll give you a definite example, right? I would put people to work, maybe when they don't need them. I'll give you one example. Can you remember conductors on buses?
Yeah.
Right?
You remember?
No, but
we were the butt of many of jokes, Dave. You don't have to go and drag that up. Yeah?
Stop talking about butts, but carry on.
No, I'm talking about...
we're talking about balls before.
We're talking about Ding Ding.
Oh, he's lost his name.
No, sorry.
Seriously, a conductor on a bus.
Yeah.
You don't really need them, but...
It gives someone a purpose.
Give them a job. They could
They make you happy. They talk to you.
Look after people. They could tell people where they're going. And it's like, and
the bus moves faster, The driver doesn't have to ask all the questions. People hop on and then they sort it out.
And I just think it's like, yes, it's... I mean, how many bus journeys must there be in Britain every day?
Oh, wow.
Hundreds of thousands?
Hundreds of thousands, yeah.
But say there was 50,000. That's 50,000 people.
You know, on the hospital wards, there's no secretaries. My mother is in the hospital, right? So a lady whose name I won't mention rings, Dr. Anand, I believe you got the hoist for your mother when she's discharged. Can you ring me back? I rang back 6 times and the line's busy because somebody's talking about the grandmother. But the government doesn't, or the system doesn't want you to have their numbers. What will I do with this woman's number?
I think now, Doc,
it's all fear.
No, I think we're in a better place to what Dave's saying, because before, when you had publicly owned companies, there was money issues to run by. Now things like the buses are all privately owned. They're all there for profit. So I think
and only for profit.
Because of those big profits, they're not working at a loss.
Well, I'll give you another example. Right? I'll give you my own example. In 1984, there was 200,000 miners in this country. There's less than 2,000 now, right?
Yeah.
Not just the miners though. For every miner, there was at least 3 people working in the industries feeding the mines. You used to have some massive engineering firms on the Tyne Valley. People called Hewwood, Gully Dobson, people like that, making coal cutting machinery. I've got a friend now working in Germany that was based in Motherwell and based in Ilkeston and Derbyshire. They've all gone. We're still burning 60 million tonne of coal a year, but we're buying it from places like China and Russia, where people treat like slaves and people are dying. There'll be 100 Chinese workers dying a day, right? And you're not able to
100 a day.
100 a day, 6,000 a year.
And we are bothered about sweatshops in Bangladesh, but you're not bothered about...
You're not a thing.
Do we not have a responsibility as consumers?
We're all humans.
Do we not have a responsibility as consumers for this happening?
Yes, we are the guilty party. We want everything as cheap as possible.
We could. The truth is, right, we'd all have to pay a bit more for our energy. That's, would that not be worth it? But
yes, of course.
There's 200,000 people back at work, paying taxes, paying national insurance. And the other big thing, what really got me, when they closed the mines, they destroyed the communities that people lived in.
Yeah.
And I lived in a fantastic old-fashioned village that it fell off the edge of a cliff. We got drugs in the village, we got the houses in disrepair, burglaries, car crime, you name it.
And you're not even talking about Blythe.
I'm talking about a place called Henley Hall. Blythe would be the same. They went through
Henley Hall's coming back up now. That's a beautiful place.
After 30 years.
30 years.
But it didn't need to happen, is the point.
It's hot out, didn't it?
Aye, completely. And I'll tell you the stupid thing. We were made to buy our house. The houses we lived in were owned by the coal board. We were made to buy them in the late 80s. They were about 4,000 quid. It was a good day, right? 20 years later, when the houses had fell into disrepair, because they brought people from all over the area to live in homes that are being bought by private landlords who never went anywhere near the village. They knocked them all down. The council knocked them down, and they give us 50,000 quid to get out the houses.
Yeah.
Public money.
Yeah.
All that money, if they just kept the pit going,
yeah,
none of that would have happened.
Pay for itself.
Yeah. Now, okay, you can argue, that's inefficient, this and that. Well, it might be economically inefficient, but I tell you what, it would have been socially very efficient.
But is the world only about cash?
No, it isn't.
Of course it isn't.
It's about being happy.
Exactly.
After people.
So what is happiness? Is it in a sense, you see, Aristotle looked at it 2 ways.
Security is happiness.
There's being pleasure and contentment. Like that can be classed as happiness. Or the other version is...
what's your version?
The other version is meaningful. But yet, if you look at pleasant and contentment, they both have their flaws. Can be classed as hedonistic. To live in
What's wrong with being hedonistic?
No, but it's comparing. I'm comparing it. I'm seeing the comparables, and the meaning conveyed could be scolded as at the expense of someone else.
No, that's not happiness.
How do you define happiness?
My happiness doesn't depend on your unhappiness.
I think what people really need in life to make them start being happy is a sense of security of knowing where they are and knowing, like, look, my life might not be very good, but I know where I'm at. It's why some people.
But if your jobs are only for a year, and then you're doing another project, how can you be happy?
Well, you can't be.
You're insecure all the time. You're living on fear, not on love.
Yeah.
My definition of happiness is being happy this minute when I'm talking to you. Full stop. There is no past. There's no future. I'm happy now.
So it has meaning.
It has meaning
in this present moment.
Yeah. And I've retired now, but why the hell am I coming to Spice so many times?
Because you got nothing else to do.
No. I could go and play golf like the idiot Indian doctors who retire and do that. Stereotypical.
That's worse.
Yeah, I'm very racist. I could walk the dog and collect a stupid newspaper and look at footballs like the rest of the idiots.
You don't have a dog.
Excuse me. I find meaning where I want to find meaning. I make meaning.
So you have a choice?
I have extreme choice. Because yesterday it was not easy, getting Bengalis and Pakistanis and English and Indians, all children coming. It's quite a tricky subject, and everyone's giving you advice. You shouldn't collect money. You should get the mullah only to do tilawat. And I said, up yours, I'm doing what the hell I like. Ana ho to aao. So there has to be an element of self-confidence.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want to ask you. Where does your massive self-confidence come from? And I can see it because I have some of it too, and Amer as well.
I think it comes from my background. My background, all my training, all I know is based through work the trade union movement.
But even before that, what did your mother instill in you that nobody has been able to shake off?
Because you're old school, aren't you? You've mentioned this a lot of times.
I don't know what my mother instilled in us.
But society? The people where you live, where you were born, when you were 3 years old? And that that mono radiogram.
Well, see, that was part of the deal. That, like,
did it feel secure?
Yeah, very secure.
Exactly what Amer is mentioning.
But my sister would tell you a tale if she was there. We were born in a place in Sunderland, at the docks in Sunderland. 2 rooms, not 2 bedrooms, 2 rooms. Mm-hmm. My mother, my father, and 4 kids. It was overrun with mice and black locks and all this sort of thing. And 3 weeks after that, we got a brand new council house. Provided for by the state, built by the state, which again comes back to put people into work. Mm-hmm. And I just think like that sort of thing
leaves a mark on your life.
And it makes you believe. I believe in collectivism. I believe all of us working together for the benefit of all of us.
I'm not an individual. The me goes away.
Well, you can be comfortable being an individual within that, but when it's like,
but not at the cost of everyone.
No, when the individual is, well, I'm all right, stuff you.
Yeah.
And that sadly is where I think. I mean, if you look at some of the things what's happened the last few years, where you've got like this government's been very, very good at turning poor people against even poorer people.
Okay.
And exploiting fears and saying, what's this big thing? Oh, you'll get up to go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. You see their curtains and shut the line in bed all day.
Yeah.
Oh, there's lazy slobs. Yes.
There might be some lazy slobs, but it might be a guy who kind of walk, or it might be a woman who's got terminal cancer or whatever. And it was just like
it's like blaming the victim.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, it's also this. One of the school teachers mentioned this to me. We were discussing some things, and she mentioned, look, the problem that we have now, and we're trying to help the children, is that, you've got a guy living on the estate. This young child lives next door to this guy. He's worked in a factory for 20 years, drives a 15-year-old car, gets up at work at 6, come back to 5.
Yeah.
And he's been doing
Never has time with his family.
Or 3 doors down, you've got the 22-year-old who's driving a brand new BMW, wearing the latest outfits with the jewellery because he's selling drugs. This is the choice that our kids are getting left with.
Yes.
How terrible is that?
Yes.
You could argue he's an entrepreneur, couldn't you? If you want, like perversely.
Are you trying to be politically correct about drug dealing?
No, but some people would argue that was, he's took a choice to do that.
But at the cost of people's lives.
Yeah, the cost of misery to others.
Yeah. But he might justify to himself, though.
No, I'm all right because of course he can, because he's got the big car, and he tries to say, why do you want to be with this why do you want to look like that hard-working man?
Yeah.
Go to work all day when you can work with me for a month and you can have everything he's worked all his life for.
Well, if you look, I remember some of the movies, you say the Goodfellas and things like that, where kids got into crime, exactly, and it was like, the dads just trying to get them away from, the big Italian guys who were sitting in the corner doing out all day. Well, it's like, this is a much better lifestyle than what your dad's going working down the docks.
What is the
hello, Spice FM. Who's that, please? It's our Jasmine again. I can hear the radio echoing. Okay, one quick question. Go on, fire away.
Yeah, it's a question for Dave Anderson. What kinds of job would he have created when the miners were I mean, that's a hypothetical question. When the miners were losing their jobs left, right, and center.
Okay, I'll let him answer that. If you ever see it on YouTube, which you forget your password for, you told me last night, he's wearing a miners T-shirt. What jobs would you have created for the miners who were losing their jobs?
We didn't need to create them. We could have left the miners working in the mines that were still there. We sterilised billions of tons of coal in this country. We could have kept on working the mines. We could have developed other ones in parts of the country that still lie in there. There's 400 million tonne of coal off the northeast coast between South Shades and Sunderland that we know there that we could have been working in now. So you didn't need to recreate any work. The work was there to be done.
So what was the purpose of
cost
party?
Because they could
but again, it's cost effective, but not human effective.
But the big thing was, the political thing was to destroy active trade unionism.
Okay.
And she was very successful.
So they can never raise their ugly head again.
Yeah. And then
whether it's Fleet Street or miners.
Anyway, yeah, so start with the miners and then start.
So no collective responsibility. I'm the dictator and I shall
do whatever I like.
Dave, just another question in my limited information on this as well, but I had a feeling like, when Labour became New Labour, that they actually turned against the unions at a time as well. They weren't supported fully.
I'm not sure they turned against them, but they certainly didn't embrace them. And it was
that's what Labour was based on.
There was a thing, there's a guy called John Monks who was the General Secretary to TUC, a good friend of mine. And John said this thing when New Labour was at its height. He said, you go to a meeting with the leaders of the Labour Party and you feel a little bit like the grandfather or the uncle at the wedding who sits in the corner and the wording is he wets his trousers. He wasn't like, and you feel like, well, we've got to have him there, but like just put him in the corner.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Have him there.
That's a good analogy.
It was absolutely
like a decoration piece.
Yeah. But what they never stopped doing is they never stopped taking money off the unions.
Yeah.
What they did do was stop taking advice off the unions, and the advice the unions was giving them was based on people's real lives in the workplace. And one of the biggest things, I'll give you an example, the private finance initiative, which has been hugely detrimental to the health service and other public services.
Completely.
We, from 1992 onwards, my union was saying this is going to end up being a disaster. And we were doing it because we had senior people in the health service in our union
who were telling
who
you.
were on the national executive. I chaired the policy committee for our union.
Right.
And they were coming, and I'm talking about people who were earning more than the Prime Minister. These weren't stupid people. These were
no.
senior minds, but good comrades of mine. And they were saying, if you do this and 20 years later, the National Audit
You'll
Office
reap the harvest.
brought a report out, and everything what we'd said in 1992 was true. There.
Yeah, it's a disaster.
Because people, yourselves, anybody, it's like, if you want your car to be fixed, you'll go and see a mechanic because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that,
you don't go and see a surgeon.
Absolutely. And it's like, if you want to do something in the health service or any other workplace, go and talk to lads and lasses at the front line. But they ignored them. And you're right. I mean, and I just think that part of the weakness from the Labour Party now is, and one of the worries about places like Scotland is, they've lost that link through the union into the community, which the unions still have. The unions still have, although the numbers are diminished to what they were at the height, they still have a lot of respect in the community, and they're still seen by the people who were members of it that they stand up for them.
But that independence was a close call, wasn't it, Dave? It was a wake-up.
I was just going to ask exactly the same question. We've managed to glue them with the skin of our teeth, just about.
Just.
Depends
where you were.
Where's that feeling of wanting to be detached? Where does that stem from?
I'll tell you what it is. They didn't want to be detached. I was up there. I've been going to Scotland for decades. I was up there on the campaign trail in Fife, an old-fashioned mining area, very similar to where I came.
Yeah.
And most of the people up there, in Fife, it was about 65-35 to remain in the United Kingdom. The places where they lost it was Glasgow and Dundee. Yeah. But overall, the vote stopped in. They didn't want independence from the United Kingdom per se. They wanted independence from the agenda that's been pursued by United Kingdom governments for the last 30 years, which has been, let's have more private sector, let's move more motorists, let's put profit before people. And the Scots, effectively like a lot of people around here, let's call it left-wing vote for ease.
Hello, Spice, who's that, please?
The more left-wing.
Hello, Mr. Non-speaker.
Let's just carry on with what we're doing anyway.
They might say something terrible on air. So somebody wants to speak to us and has got inadvertently through. So it is the way. Do you think Scotland has been treated like the ugly sister or something?
No,
or Cinderella, rather.
I think they'll say that they've been ignored because up there they want effectively, let's call it an old Labour agenda. They want more state intervention. They want more collective provision. And basically they've been told you're not going to have it. You can't have it. Same as we have around here. I mean, one of the biggest things, come back to what I said before about council housing. The biggest issue I get on a day-to-day basis is housing. And simply because we haven't built enough houses, between us, all governments, for the last 30 years. Because we had this big thing, somehow social housing is second class. And you should all want.
Why do the Brits want their own house and the French not bothered?
Well, I spent time in Holland during the mining strike. 90% of the people in Holland, which is one of the most advanced nations on earth, and probably some of the happiest people on earth.
Yeah.
They live in council houses. Let's call it local authority provide house, whatever they are. The fact you're paying rent doesn't make the house any less yours.
Yeah.
You know,
And the fact that you're paying a mortgage doesn't make it yours anyway, until you're paid it off.
Yeah, and it just...
And the word mortgage means mortgage. Mort means death. Until death do us part. It's more than a marriage, you know.
Gauge how close you are to your death.
That's when you loan it.
That's when you find out, like...
You know, I mean, when you look... I mean, I used to,
when you're dead.
When I worked at the council, I used to go to places like Scotchwood and all that, and you look at the houses, and some of them weren't very good, and some of them were nice, but then you look back to what people moved out of, what people should do every once in a while. Watch Get Carter every once in a while. Watch Get Carter and see what people were living like.
Well, watch Get Carter and see what the car park was like.
No,
there's nearly improved
toilets, everything.
Yes,
You know, that's what they had. The baths were made of tin, and you know.
Well, we lived like that, but you know, but we improved it. We should have kept on improving it. And part of the problem was every time there was a little bit of crisis, they stopped funding.
Do you think the Second World War made things better for Britain?
Some ways it did.
Made people think and feel.
Well, the first thing it did was it stopped the depression. because they were forced to spend public money.
Well, if there's a fire in your house, your psychic depression goes. You know?
No, but it's like, you know, I always say when they get on about, we've got to have austerity to put the country right. We had austerity in the 30s, and what put it right in America was when they did the New Deal, and they put public money into getting people into work. In Britain, we had the Second World War. We spent public money to kill people, unfortunately. But you said it before, we've got women into work.
Yes.
There was no shortage.
So when we need it, even women are okay.
But you could spend, women are always okay.
I hope it's a woman.
Women are always okay.
Okay. Who's that, please?
You're disappointed it's not a woman.
Oh, okay. So at least half a woman. Go on, Rob.
Hey, we'll have less of that.
This is Rob Pugel.
Hello, Rob.
Rob, hi, Rob.
Good afternoon, Rob.
Hi, Doc. Merry
Far
Christmas
away.
to
Merry
you
Christmas.
and Dave and Amer in the studio.
Hi,
Hello,
thank you very much, Rob.
Hey, what a subject you guys are talking about today, man.
I should still be in bed.
I think we need a whole day for this subject.
Wait, come on in.
Missing you.
Dave, man.
Missing
Dave,
you.
It's good, Dave, it's good to hear a socialist. At long last,
thanks,
I'm not
mate.
sure.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, my friend, I was a lifelong Labour member until that character called Tony Blair became leader.
He really hates Tony Blair.
Yeah.
And I've been saying for the last 20 years, Dave, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so, since he wafted into office on a mission to destroy socialism, my friend.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate.
Yeah, and but I'll tell you another thing, Dave, and this is from my own personal experience of working in industry. And I'm proud of what I've done all the way through my career. I've got a year and a bit to go before I retire, God willing.
Yeah.
And but I would say, as my dad was, God rest his soul, I've been a socialist all my life. I've always had socialist beliefs, and certainly this, you know, you're talking about jobs and profit, etc., and what Mrs. Thatcher and her, you know, vultures did to this country. You know, and the Tory government are doing at the moment, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You know, I've got no time for these people at all, you know.
Yeah.
They're basically destroying this country bit by bit, and it's basically to do with money, Doc. It is. It's all about money.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with anything else. It's all about accumulating money. Now, I work in industry, yeah? I mean, back in the 80s when I first started working in industry, I started on the shop floor, Dave, as a member of the GMB, yeah?
Right, man.
And what I would say, and you know, the thing that really hurt me more than anything was, you know, being a socialist, was I was paying my dues into the GMB every month or every week. You know, I was told I had to join the union in those days before when I got my job.
Yeah.
Now, when push came to shove, Dave, and I was sitting in the, they were called personnel managers in those days.
Yeah.
They're called HR departments now, as you know.
Yeah.
I was sitting there and being told I was going to be made redundant. Now, my shop steward who was sitting next to me, you know, I thought he'd gone dumb or something, or deaf, or whatever it was, but he didn't have anything to say in support of me, to be quite honest, Dave, which quite disgusted me in that I'd been paying all my dues in all those years, and when push came to shove and I needed the support of the GMB,
you got the shove.
I got zilch, I got zero, yeah? And, you know, I had the personnel manager saying to me, well, you can clock out, you know, hand your clock card in as you go out. That was the way I was treated. But you know what it is, you know, your safety boots, you can take them with you because you'll have plenty of time, to spend in the garden, so take your safety boots with you. That insult to injury, I was going to go home and tell my wife I was unemployed and I had a week's wage to live on, and then I had to go through all the...
Put a boot in.
Exactly, Doc. Anyway, fast-forwarding it to where I am now, so I've gone from the shop floor and I've worked really hard, like most people, putting the hours in, doing the courses, doing whatever skills I could acquire along the way, and I'm proud of what I've achieved personally. But what I do try to do in my job now, Dave, is that and I'm not no better than anybody. I'm just telling you from the heart.
Stop underselling yourself. Stop underselling yourself. You're bloody good at it. You're very good.
From me personally, I'm still a socialist at heart, and the team that I'm responsible for, as a manager in industry, to me, their jobs, their dignity, the dignity of what they do, they do jobs that I've done all the jobs that they do, I treat them like decent human beings, or try to, within a multi-international
and they'll work a lot harder for you for doing that,
Yes, and they love you for it, and you're happier for it. Never mind the pay. For the same pay, you can be a happier person if your colleagues love you.
And giving them dignified jobs with a little bit of responsibility and making them feel worthwhile. Yeah, at the end of the day, we're all working for a big international corporation, international company. But at the end of the day, on the shop floor, we're all human beings interacting with each other. And, we spend most of our lives, including myself, at work, and I try and make that, it's just like a small family, my team. I try to make, although they are, you call them proletariat, call them what you want, right? I'm a proletariat. I'm part of the working class. And I'm proud of it. But the thing is, treat people with dignity. To hell with zero contracts, 0-hour contracts. To hell with giving people so-called jobs, and then when they get to a certain age, let's get rid of them, right? I'll tell you from experience. I won't name my company, but Doc knows what it is. But my company
begins with a Z.
On the back of profit.
Zebra?
On the back of profit. I'll tell you what they do. They've spent millions and millions of pounds putting in a system whereby it's called a SAP system.
I'm just talking to you. He works
by
in Kerry
doing
Food.
that, all those ladies, all those guys who had jobs, all over the place, who were processing orders, who were doing this, that, and the other. I mean, what you said about the bus conductors before, hey, I'll tell you what, that really struck a chord with me. I thought, you know what it is? Something as simplistic as that. Wouldn't that make life so much better for everybody? As Doc said, it would speed up the buses.
Absolutely.
It would give those poor blinking drivers a bit more security as well.
Yes.
And have somebody to talk to. Giving people jobs. Give them a little bit of dignity in their lives. Don't look at, can I get this person for £2 an hour or £3 an hour? For God's sake, give them a living wage. That's what we want. We're on this planet to live together. We've got so much on this planet. We're the 7th richest country in the world, for God's sake. And yet we've got people who are going to food banks because they've got nothing to eat on Christmas Day. For God's sake, what sort of a country are we living in? My God Almighty, I'm so lucky. God's given me so much, and He gives me so much every day. And I pray to God, it's blind faith. I say to Him, hey, don't give me any more. You give me too much. Those poor buggers who've got nothing in this world, give them something. But this government, and I'll tell you what, I hope they're booted out on their backsides next year. But I'll tell you what, I don't know whether a socialist government's going to follow them. But I'll tell you what, I hope they do.
All right, let's ask Dave. Let's ask Dave and Amer what they think.
I hope it's somebody not like Tony Blair, who destroyed.
You should be in Parliament, man.
Rob,
Rob.
Very, very passionate.
Dave, speak
by Rob there.
Rob, I don't think it's going to be a socialist government, but it'll be classed itself as a democratic socialist government. But I think that we've got some good people in there now, and a number of them who live and work up here, who have lived and worked the real world, and hopefully we can have some influence on which direction the government goes in. And but I just think if you spell it out to people, some simple facts about, if we look after each other, we can make it a better world to live in. And what they want to do, if you look at it, they want to take public spending back to levels what they were in the 1930s, because it's better for them, because they can give themselves tax cuts. They don't need all the things, the help that ordinary people need with things like transport, housing, education, etc., because they can afford to pay for it for themselves. Yes. So they begrudge actually paying to help other people get on. Well, I'm sorry, I don't buy into that. For me, we've got if we help each other, then we make the world a better place for all of us, and that's what we should be doing.
Can I just say something about the conductor here? Yeah, I'll very say very quickly. There was a conductor. I read he got arrested for murder, and he was sentenced with a death penalty, and he was going to the electric chair. So they put him down, and he
didn't die because he was
You don't do this, Doc.
Don't spoil us.
So what you do is basically they tied him down, electrocuted the first time, he didn't die. They did it the second time, he didn't die. And the third time, because it was the third time, they had to let him go. And then the guys come, well, why don't he die? He said, because I was a bad conductor.
All the worst jokes are the best ones. But, can I just say one thing more? Are you still online?
Yeah, well,
yeah, we're here, Rob.
Am I still there? Yeah. Dave, what I would say is, I sort of touched on it before there. I, together with so many people in our company, have sort of, because we haven't got a union now on our site, we haven't got a union. I mean, we are told on an annual basis, whether we're going to get a pay rise, whether it's an inflationary rise or whatever, yeah? We have no negotiations taking place whatsoever, and that includes the management and it includes the guys who work in my team, yeah?
Yeah.
But I wish I could put, an extra 50 quid in their back pockets especially for their kids, for their family, yeah? That's what matters to me. What's behind those guys who work in my team, the families behind them, the lifestyle that they live.
Yeah.
We all go to work, in my view, for what it's worth, for those, to improve our lifestyle, especially for our children and our partners. We spend all these hours, in industry. What do companies do? Companies like my company will say, you know what, we're going to spend millions of pounds, we're going to put the system in, we're going to get rid of all those people who are inputting all these invoices and checking this, that and the other.
Okay.
And you know what it is? Rob Pugel, you and everybody else are going to start doing that as part of your job. But you know what it is? You're not going to get any more extra money for it. And look how many millions of pounds we've made extra profit this year.
And for themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
yesterday,
Rob?
They shut CityLink down yesterday, Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It stinks. I was at Royal Mail sorting office last week, talking to people there, and they think that come this time next year, Royal Mail will be unrecognisable from something that we've had for 300 years in this country.
But CityLink's the
And
international arm of it, isn't
it's
it?
a disgrace, man. It's just...
Okay, Rob, thank you for your call. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Take care, all the
I
best.
hope we have a better new year, guys.
Okay.
All the best.
Listen,
Everybody out there.
Only we can do that.
Get yourself across the blade and help me get re-elected. That'll give you a touch of socialism.
Yeah, we're all moving to Blaydon for the new year.
Okay, I'm so sorry you weren't in your show. Otherwise, you'd be sitting in here. Your show was a repeat or something. Actually, the station was off. I sent a dead air signal and they started some music. So anyway, I'm sorry that you weren't here. So see you later. Bye. So you made an aeroplane with your... Is that all you did in school?
I'm a skilled man. I was
Did you do that in your class?
I'm a time-served engineer.
Do you do that in the Houses of Parliament?
All the time. Dude, I don't play Crush, whatever it is.
I did feel a few of those hitting off my head when I was doing the tour. Actually.
What is this Candy Crush? What is all this on Facebook? Have people nothing better to do?
No, I think they don't, because I think, my sister is apparently addicted to it.
Your sister from the States?
No, she's been in a few states, yes.
The one I met.
Yes, that's the one, yeah.
Oh, by the way, I have the entire recording of that, the talks that we all gave.
So you actually, are you talking blackmail here? How much do you want?
No, I'm talking brown mail here.
Brown mail, I knew he was going to say that.
Yeah. So, Dave, do you know what? Great, mate. Back to you being Prime Minister. Could we go with that for only for 15 minutes?
Well, I'll give you the job. You can be my personal psychotherapist.
Right, okay.
Lavender blue dilly dilly.
He'll be personal physician. I'll be a right mess with that.
I'll just go and tell you to go and take echinacea and herbal things. I had one of the lowest prescribing in the north. I got rid of 280 women's sleeping tablets.
Right.
But did the health minister want to know? He didn't. There was a Tyne question time thing. And my wife and I went there and they were all young kids. And I thought, Then they said, we have been called. And the people who are going to speak on it, Chris Drinkwater, this one, that one, they'd all been told. So in the warm-up, I was a hot favorite. But when it came to question time, all the microphones went to just the other people who are not as exciting as me. So here you are.
I find that hard to believe.
There you are, Mr. Engineer.
I can't believe you were a victim, Doc.
I've never been a victim except of myself. There you are.
Is this a better one? Oh,
It's a bigger one. This is from Rolls-Royce.
Flap down.
So, yeah. So, again, I ask you again this question. Why are you so normal? You're an MP. You should have a tie on. You should look boring. What else can you do? You should have a three-piece.
You haven't got a suit on.
Well, we're all the same, isn't it? You are also a psychotherapist. You don't have a goatee beard.
No.
You don't speak like Freud.
I'm supposed to wear tweed.
Oh, yeah. So it's about being yourself, isn't it?
Absolutely.
If you're yourself, people are likely to trust you. Some won't like you. If everyone likes you, there's something wrong with you.
It's like one of the biggest things what people say is, there's a huge disengagement with politics. Well, it's because
Disengagement.
Yeah, because politicians are disengaged from the people who they represent. They don't look like them, they don't act like them, they don't talk like them. It's one of the reasons why, God forbid, that people are starting to like Nigel Farage. He talks like us. Unfortunately, there's an element he does.
Yes.
But he talks about the things that he shouldn't.
There was an app someone made, which was a very spoofy about foreigners, people from other countries, and then push them off the Dover cliff. There was quite a hoo-ha about it.
Yeah.
And the principal said it's the children who are making it, and it's a spoof. It's a bit like in Sickness and in Health. Who was that fellow? Alf Garnett.
Alf Garnett, yeah.
He's being racist, but is he? He's just raising the topic.
What Garnett did was, it was a parody, because it'd always end up with him looking foolish.
Yes.
So it was actually shown. It was making a fool out the racist.
Yes.
Which was good.
Yes.
I mean, Al Garnett is one of the Warren Mitchell, actually, he's one of the least racist people you ever meet in your life. He's a true gentleman. Great bloke.
And the Kumars of 42 are now making fun of the Indians themselves.
Yeah, but I don't think they're funny.
Well, do you understand the jokes?
Yes, I do. Yes, unfortunately, I do, and that's why I don't.
What do you not understand?
Exactly.
What is the matter with you?
Sorry, Doc. I'm supposed to laugh. Yes.
What is the matter? Are you Kapoor or Cooper?
Do you know what I wanted to do?
Go on then.
Is, we spoke about Dave's political career all the time. And the wonderful person that's always next to us, Eva, you haven't said anything there. Why? What's the big secret?
It's my big secret.
She is absolutely lovely. You can't keep her a secret.
We spoke about her earlier on.
That was briefly. I came in at 12:01, so you must have spoken for 30 seconds.
You were in the chip shop at 12:20.
Thank you very much for the chips, by the way.
We talked about it before you.
Very much. And salt and vinegar too.
Eva's.
Our prayers were answered.
She's wonderful. We're talking
she's
about
a great woman. She's a bright woman. She's intelligent. I couldn't do what I do without her.
How long have you been married?
42 years in March.
And does Eva know?
She will do after this when she sees YouTube.
Eva Braun.
Oh, nearly.
Oh, please be very, very careful, Doc. All right. I'm sorry. I will stand up for Eva here. Your phone was ringing there.
Okay. Hello, caller. Who's that, please?
Eva.
Hello.
Dr. Anand.
Oh, this is straight from Vermont Hotel.
Oh, Mr. Kallik.
Here we go.
How are you?
I'm glad you
rang. Mate, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good, man.
I know that you kept Dave there for quite some time.
They've got me worn out, Callie. He's got me tight to this chair.
He's being troubled stereomicrophonically.
So if I try to move, he's going to feed his chapati, so I'm going to fight it.
Double-breasted chapati I'm wearing.
Kallik, when you coming on the show so we can torture you here as well?
Listen, I'm not going to ask you too much, and I'm not going to bore you. I'm just going to, for three of you, I'm going to ask you the questions.
Uh-huh.
What does the sand say to the sea?
What does who say to the sea?
The sand.
Sand. What does the sand say to the sea?
Sand, balu.
Yeah. Lick me.
Balu, yeah. That's a question for three of you.
Yeah.
What does the sand say to the sea?
Lick me.
With my rhythm stick.
Say that again.
Lick me.
Lick me. Mujhe chato.
No.
What does sand say to the sea?
Dave, you're the clever one.
I'm not that clever. I didn't expect to get philosophical questions.
Yeah, no, not 5 minutes before the end of the show.
It's a good question for the politicians.
Well, I'm not trying to compliment or not.
You give us the answer then.
Go on then.
Right, you all give up?
Yes.
Yeah.
You win. Can we phone a friend? I've got no left after that. I've got no friends left.
Let me call Kallik.
Sand says to the sea, keep flowing.
Keep flowing.
Keep waving, sorry, not flowing.
Keep waving.
Thank you.
And my meaning is, all these people I'm hearing it, slugging the employers, and they think they're what a wonderful people they are.
We're not slugging all the employers, just the bad ones.
They don't realize if there was no employers,
there'd be no employment.
People, what would they do?
Absolutely, but you're not slugging.
What would a union member will do?
We're slugging bad employers, Callie, not good ones.
Yeah. And why is your call waiting still going? Is that one of your employers trying to contact you?
Well,
he's on 0 hours.
Remember that the sound says to the sea.
Keep flowing.
Keep waving.
Listen,
we're waving to right to you.
looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
I hope that one day is going to be a prime minister of the United Kingdom, and I hope he's going to wave to us.
You can drive us round in the Bentley. I'll wave out the back window to all the poor people then when I'm prime minister.
Thank you, Khalid bhai.
I think it'll be the other way around. We'll be waving him.
I think you're right,
Thank you.
Ta-ra, mate.
Thanks, Khalid.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
In our system, when, say, Khalid was speaking, somebody is peeping behind him.
All right.
But when I switch off, that person goes, so next caller, please ring.
This wasn't his call waiting, it sounded like on Khaled's
No.
phone.
And this happens all the time. Say, you phone in, and I'm talking to you. They
so
phone
somebody
in.
was metaphorically waving in the back trying to get
Somebody
our
was
attention.
waving in the back.
We knew the answer to the question.
Now we are waving.
That's what it was.
We are waving to the waiver. Please phone back. All is forgiven.
Yeah, but we still have 10 minutes of Dave being Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Dave, fire away.
10 minutes.
10 minutes of Prime Minister. Go for a pint?
No, I would not do that. No. Before I do busy, go for a pint. I'd have to stop drinking. That's
You only have 10 minutes.
I wouldn't get one down to 10 minutes.
You wouldn't even know. No.
You would have to live in London, first of all.
That's true. That wouldn't be much fun.
Yeah. Unless we can move it up here.
Well, that'd be a good idea.
We could move it to Edinburgh, couldn't we, Dave?
What if Blaydon was if Blaydon was the capital of Britain?
Well, it would be. I mean, I guess
it is,
it
as far as you're concerned.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's a great area.
Yeah.
There's massive slopes, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's more than Blaydon, though. It goes right from Amer, right from the top of Chelsea Street, right
Tyne
to the river
Valley.
Wylam.
Yeah.
Are you going to sing Blaydon races now?
No. I could do.
Go on then.
No, I'm not singing for you.
Go on, Howie.
You haven't paid us enough to sing.
Well, he's giving you chips.
I brought you 20 good records and I haven't heard one of them.
Hello, caller.
Look, what about playing some songs? Dave's brought his
songs
whole
are
collection.
running. That is Jasmine again. Jasmine, every time I put you on and you haven't switched off the radio, I will just cut off. So please ring again. But if I hear the wang,
we've only got 8 minutes of Dave left in Prime Minister. So
yes.
Please, Dave.
I want to hear the William Tell overture in full before I go.
Where is
it? Can you get that
It's on that one there. It's on that yellow one.
Track. What?
It's 12 minutes long.
It's not this one. It's not.
Oh.
It's track 17 on there.
Oh, have you got the cheaper version?
Of course. The brass version. This is what I'd do if I was Prime Minister. I'd play a William Tell overture every day.
Yes, it's your favourite.
Well, I'll tell nobody. Don't worry. I won't tell anyone.
No, this is a good tune. Can we use the word tune with classical music?
Well, it's not classical. It's because brass band music.
Yeah.
This is off the full and brass stuff. It's tremendous. They're playing the Albert Hall. Killed it.
Yeah. So nobody phoned.
Well, he's got Fleetwood Mac on that. Yeah.
Were you singing there, Dave?
I was. Oh, no, I wasn't singing the Blaydon races though.
Track 17 is only 3 minutes long.
That's right.
He said 17 minutes.
Yeah, but the William Tell overture goes on for a long time.
This is the under overture.
I
have to start at the beginning.
What'll be on the epitaph, Dave? Can we ask that question? What
Union
would you...
man.
Sorry?
The Union man.
No, I didn't mean literally. I mean, what would you... Oh, sorry. I thought you were asking. Yeah.
Hooray.
Oh, he's ended it?
What would you want on your epitaph, says Amer. He's killing you off already.
I have no idea.
Okay,
No, you must have-
we'll
you've
write
had
that
enough
on your
ideas,
gravestone.
no,
Just
you-
a minute. Stop. We'll say I have no idea on your gravestone.
Yeah, but that could be a very true to a lot of politicians.
Was it spite? Was it? I told you I wasn't well.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
I told that bloody Dr Anand I wasn't well.
Do you know why surgeons wear masks? So when you go
They
and
can't
die,
identify
you
them.
can't tell Peter which one killed you.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
There's some truth in that, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, it's often you'll find people who are putting catheters, like pipes in
I've had one
willies.
in
Yeah,
there.
doc, stop,
Even
please.
they will wear masks. Why do you need to hide, you know?
Because you can't say them laughing, can
You
you?
can't see me laughing, yeah.
That's about it.
I'm sure this comes in a large.
Okay.
It's just
Okay.
Like, it's just like a penis,
Okay.
only smaller. Or being thrown out.
No, it's
So we'll now end our show because we have come to the end of the show. And we would very much like you to come back again, Dave, because you've been a marvelous.
mate. I'm really
when you're Prime Minister, we're more than welcome.
Next time I'll bring some records.
Yeah, do that, Dave. Yeah,
mate,
come
some
on.
new-
We look forward to that. Thank you. You've gone to school. It says his master's voice.
His master's
So the dog has to be dogs.
But it's a test.
Okay.
It's a secret. And if I tell you, I'll have to kill you.
It's not a testicle, it's a
No,
test.
no. You're back to balls again, aren't you?
Head balls. Okay, the balls are in my head, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what is your first memory? The big stereo, the mono.
I was listening to Alma Cogan on the radio, believe it or not, singing Sugar in the Morning, and I had a little dog sitting next to us, and it's
How old were you at that time?
about 3.
So you remember that quite clearly.
Yeah, experience.
You know, these are amazing remembrances, and I feel that up till the age of 7, what your mother tells you is gospel truth because you totally believe her.
Well, I think you're right, because my eternal memory for when I was 7 was I was sitting on December the 9th, 1960, 7:30 at night, waiting to watch a programme called Highway Patrol.
Highway Patrol,
It's a great actor called Broderick Crawford played a policeman.
Uh-huh.
And instead of Highway Patrol, which had a really upbeat theme, came this terrible, boring music going, da, 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 da. And it was the first episode of Coronation Street.
Oh,
and I've hated it ever
dang,
since.
dang, 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 dang. Another boring music. God, it is boring. Why do people want to watch
54
other people's
years.
boring lives? Tell me.
I think it makes them feel better about their own. It must be. I tell you what, you know the best. The person who deserves the best award in TV is the man who convinced the British public to watch people asleep in bed in Big Brother. It's just
Big Brother is one of my pet hates. You know,
What's
why do
wrong
I
with
want
it?
to watch other people doing things? Why can't I do it?
Well, even you watch people asleep in bed. Where's the entertainment in that? What do you fill this?
And they're awake watching it.
It's good. It's just.
But in Norway, they've had a film series about a ship sailing. That's all they show for 22 hours.
Is that right?
If you go on TED Talks,
That's probably a little bit more interesting than watching somebody sleep. It's not your own Big Brother, isn't it? God, yeah.
well, why don't you just take a picture and just still picture? I mean, and just show it.
Why don't you just turn it off? It's much easier.
But isn't it true that life is full of activity and you can influence other people if you're bothered, or you can just
Absolutely.
watch Agog square-eyed at the television?
Well, it's what you were talking about earlier on about
Very warm welcome to you, sir, Dave
Good
Anderson.
morning.
Good
Afternoon.
morning. How are you? Good afternoon.
It was morning when I woke up. It doesn't feel like it now.
Well, what is the shirt you're wearing? It's just
This
simply
is a shirt from commemorating 30 years of the miners' strike. Which I was a coal miner during the strike, and it's made.
You were a coal miner.
I was 20 years man and boy.
I was in Freeman Hospital and I heard about Arthur Scargill and what's going on. Some American guy got smacked in.
That was that lovely guy, Mr. Ian McGregor. Sir
McGregor.
Ian McGregor. Mrs. Thatcher's Hatchet Man.
Mr. Thatcher's Hatchet Man. Sound like a poem, you know. Mrs. Thatcher's Hatchet Man.
There's a lot of songs about him.
Boom, boom.
But you can't sing them on air because there's some rude words.
Oh, I
We
see.
could not possibly use those words.
Oh, you can't?
Not in a show as serious as this one.
No, in my kind of shows, you can't use words like balls and you
No,
can't. We're talking football here.
Only when you're talking about the next Chancellor of Britain, Mr. Ed Balls. That's what I mean, use the word balls.
How can you have head and balls all together?
He's going to do anything. That
Has he got it? Has he got balls in his head or head in his balls?
Sure. I'll ask his wife next time.
So about the miners' strike,
All right.
and it brings me very neatly to you. Where were you born, sir? What were
I
you?
was born in Sunderland.
Sunderland, we forgive you for that.
Right.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
And I came to Newcastle in 1989 as a disciple to try and teach them the right way.
How old were you?
When I was born, I was very, very young.
When you came to Newcastle,
I was 35 years old. I'd done 20 years in the pits, got made redundant.
Okay.
And I came to Newcastle.
So what's your first memory in Sunderland? What do you remember of Sunderland?
Sitting in a place called Hilton Castle. It was a brand new.
I know Hilton Castle. I've done night doctor service.
All right.
So I know every part of Sunderland.
Right.
Penny something?
I remember Pennywell, yeah.
Pennywell, the gorgeous.
Yeah, it's the Beverly Hills of the North. I was sitting next to a radiogram, 3 years old.
Radiogram. I remember those things, you know.
It was bigger than this table.
Yes. Oh. Like a pie stereo and all that kind of thing.
It wasn't any stereo.
If
it
mono.
would have been winding up.
His master's voice.
That's exactly.
Okay, tell me, his master's voice, was the dog a male or a bitch?
It was a bitch.
How do you know?
Because I know the secrets.
But it says,
I tell you, I'll have to kill you.
Excuse me, sir. Could be. I mean, let me tell you about the experiment an American boy did in 1974, I think. David Mirrell. He took 72 mice, 24 in dry fish tanks, right? Yep. And after a week of letting them be, he found they could solve a maze, like get through some nails, maze made of nails, 6 foot long, in about 10 minutes each. So the average time for these white mice was 10 minutes. After 3 weeks, he found that the mice left in silence could do it in 5 minutes. From 10 to 5, they learned.
Right.
Then the mice who heard Mozart and all that kind of stuff, they could do it in 1.5 minutes.
All right.
But beware, the ones who heard heavy metal did not decrease the time from 10 to 5 or 1.5. They increased it to 30 and started killing each other.
Because we're busy rocking.
But they were busy killing as well. So maybe we should put... Do you know how I would punish the Taliban?
Go on.
I'd put them soothing music like this and ask them to write lines. I'll never do this again. I'll never do this again.
Some heavy rocks so they kill each other. Kill
You know, I mean, how do you survive the difficulties of that you see? Being an MP, you have to read all the time. And what you read in papers is not pleasant. You have to eat more of it than I have to.
Well,
how do you cope with that pain?
See, I think it's to some extent it's like any other job. If you take it on and you're not prepared for the downside, then don't do it.
Like being a GP, you go to people's funerals, like policemen who go and see dead families or beaten up wife.
Like a lorry driver, you're going
to have the flip side, yes.
If you don't think you're going to get in your carbon by the end of the day, you're going to be really cheesed off for the journey you've had. Then it's amazing.
So it's best, I truly believe if you listen to your heart and do your job, it's for a lifetime. And you also get paid. If you listen to your mind or your hip pocket, the wallet, then it lasts a lifetime, but it's death row all the time.
You've got to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy doing this job, I don't know how anybody could carry on.
So what do you really enjoy in being an MP?
Helping people.
So that is the prime driver.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you the best thing, what I find, I've got a really great staff team in Blaydon. I've got 5 people who work in that office for me. And they're doing things every day of the week for ordinary people, which a lot of them I don't even hear about. But people come in with, no, I don't get that much money. They come on expenses later. It's a nice little barber's right next to the tube station in Tootenbeck, which is where I stay when I'm in London.
So how's your life between the two places? It's like having 2 wives, I guess.
Not at all. How would I know?
Where does your wife stay?
My wife stays at home.
Where's the other one?
I could not possibly comment.
The parliament is your other wife, isn't it?
That's right.
It's your passion.
I'm married to parliament.
Exactly. Like nuns used to wear a wedding ring, married to Jesus.
Yeah,
and people, it's about commitment, isn't it?
It is.
So how's your life? Where do you spend? What time? Where are you?
I go down to London on a Monday morning. Probably 10-25 trains.
Like any commuter.
Yeah. Get down there about 1:45. Leave straight to work. Leave there about 11 o'clock at night. Go back to the flat. The flat, to be honest, is like a glorified hotel room. I sleep there. I don't eat there very much. It's not worth it. I can get back into work in 20 minutes. I can get breakfast.
So it's something very convenient at your place over. It's still hard, 20 minutes is not the same as Newcastle.
But see, when I work in Newcastle, I lived at Hackney Hall. It was a 17-mile ride to work. And the wrong time of day it could take you up to an hour. So really, it's not.
So you found a system that works for you. So Monday you go down there and you live and sleep there, and then
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, usually.
Okay.
Quite often, over the last few months, because the government has had very little business on a Thursday, we haven't had any votes on a
So
Thursday.
you could come back
I
earlier.
tend to come home on a Wednesday night.
So it's usually 4 nights there and 3 nights here.
There.
Here.
3 nights there and 4 nights there.
Okay. And you go by train, I guess.
Oh, yeah. You can do the plane, but to be honest with you save about 20 minutes. It just isn't worth it.
It's not worth
It's just not worth it. Nah.
Because you're in the waiting room.
Yeah, well, plus the big thing is about coming home.
Yes.
When you want to come home, if you miss a train, there's another one in half an hour. If you miss a plane, it's 3 hours.
So all this you had to go through.
I mean, I was doing work down there for years. Before I was an MP, I worked with the trade unions from 1993.
Right.
Oh, this is even more, but this is about the funeral. The listeners will be slashing the wrist if there's anybody still listening. Well, they've probably all gone out now.
But I think music is something that resonates with us, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. The vigil out there, I didn't realise the vigil was on. I would have tried to come.
Yes.
But it's like, I think that's somebody saying, look, in reality, does it change anything? Probably not. But the people...
I feel better.
And so will the people. When they find out, they're thinking, these people care about me.
That's right.
5,000 miles away and they're thinking about
Absolutely true. Really I mean, what can we do to the Taliban that they can't do to themselves? We can't. But the other thing is we are in a free speech country, to a large extent. I know you'll disagree to some extent. But compared to India and Pakistan, we can say a lot more.
No, absolutely.
And even people like Salman Rushdie are still alive.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be the case in the subcontinent or anywhere else, really, not even in America. So really, we have this free speech. And I think if you don't have humor and if you don't have free speech, what the hell are you doing in Britain? Why you not enjoy it?
Absolutely.
It's like a nun with 20 blokes party.
Start again, you'll be back to balls. I know, you're not getting us back to that.
Let's have some music.
I have a cousin who's a nun, so be very careful what you say.
Your cousin is a nun? Why is he? I thought he was a male. Male cousin.
No, not quite. No.
Okay, let's have a listen to some music of yours.
You'll cry at this one.
Should you go first and I remain to walk the road alone?
It's very melodic, isn't it?
It's very
but
it's a love song from the 40s.
But why can't music be soft and gentle? Because it soothes the savage beast or breast, which
takes all sorts. I like some soft songs.
Why not?
But I like heavy metal.
You mean there's a soft side of you as well?
Very soft side of me. I've let me feminine side.
Your underbelly is really soft.
Oh, I've got a very soft underbelly. It's a very big underbelly as well. I didn't see that one coming.
Well, when I see your outfit, I can see the equator going around. All longitude.
You can't say the South Pole. But
I can see the snow on the North Pole.
That's definitely up there. So, that's the Arctic Circle, right?
Where do you get your haircuts like?
I got this cut in Tootenbeck by a Cypriot barber called Harry.
You went all the way to Cyprus to get a haircut?